This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, everybody out in Seminole County, Florida, everybody out in Tripoli that loves Danielle so much that they sing songs about her. Orlando County, everybody in the entire state of Florida, everybody in Battle Creek, Michigan, because that's just my favorite name for a city ever. Provo, Utah, because I just always remember that name for some reason. You'll do well there. If you guys can get that movie reference, call into the Refresh Telecom lines at 1-800-525-4032.
I know that movie.
Do you really? Do you really?
Yes.
You'll do well there?
You want me to tell you what it is?
Man, I'm telling. Hold on.
I can tell you what that movie reference is right now.
Man, if you can get that movie reference, that is such an obscure reference, man.
Ocean's 11.
Damn! Oh my God, Greg! Oh my God! That is amazing!
I think you'd like Provo. You do well there.
You do well there. Damn! My name's Alex, co-host Liberty Underground. You know, I am, for some reason, like 10 minutes ago, I was probably I was not feeling like I'm feeling right now, but you know, man, I'm feeling really good right now.
I'm tired, but I'm surviving.
By the way, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, otherwise known as my Wikipedia, and not your Wikipedia, my Wikipedia, by the way, just for everybody that wants to know, my Wikipedia. Tired of people thinking that you're somebody else's Wikipedia other than mine.
I know.
Danielle Alexandra, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. I'm tired. We're gonna go into the story.
You're gonna make it through it. You're gonna make it through it.
I will make it.
You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it through it today.
Yeah. Well, you're a little loud for me.
Maybe.
But we'll go into the story in a few minutes about why I'm so tired. But I'm very tired this morning. It was a late night.
Yes, it was. Prime Minister, things that are sinister. His name's Greg Evil Bowen. He is not from Battle Creek, Michigan, but I wish he was. How are you doing, Greg?
Spectacular. How you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing really good. Well, we got to get into this first before we get into the Adrian event. The passing of a dear friend.
Yeah.
You know what?
It was a sad week for us. We had a loss in the family.
Yes. On Sunday night, we are heading back from an event down in Miami at 6:30 in the evening.
It was Fort Lauderdale.
It was the Miami area. All right, I was using Miami as more of a regional term than anything else.
Okay.
Because technically we were on Alligator Alley, and I don't know what city that's called particularly.
That's still Broward County, though, which is not Miami.
I wasn't going to
County.
get into the Broward County thing. I was just going to say Miami because people know, Miami down that way.
Okay.
You know? I appreciate the clarification, though, Danielle.
If you want me to be your Wikipedia, you need to understand I'm going to put in the facts.
Sometimes we got to turn that off. So we're heading back, and we knew the car was having a little bit of an issue, but I didn't realize that it was going to die, but the car died. And we were stuck on the side of the road. Well, actually, you know, the funny thing is that we were stuck there, and we were able to get a jump because I was able to pull into a rest stop. And I got somebody to jump me.
Wait. The first rest stop that we actually, died in, we pulled in and the car starting to really die, is one of those rest stops where it's like a nature observer, right. You just observe. But so there's this big, the canal along Alligator Alley, the one with alligators, is right there.
That is why they call it Alligator Alley.
That is why they call it.
It's not called Hippopotamus Alley
No.
or Little Beagle Alley.
But
because there's wild little beagles there, even though that would be dangerous.
There's a fence all along Alligator Alley, and the fence is right along the road. And I always suspected that so that the alligators couldn't get on the road. But this rest stop, you're behind the fence and much less protected from the alligators.
Well, actually, I think you were looking there because you didn't get out of the car really to look where it was. I think there was a drop off right there, and that's what was going on there.
Okay, yeah, there's a drop off to water.
Well, yeah, that's where the alligators are at. But
Right.
It ain't like they can climb up there and get up there, though.
That was
there was enough of us.
way too close for me.
All right.
And I thought we were going to be stuck right there, and I was freaked out.
All right, well, we made it to that one, but we made it out of that one, but immediately car having problems again, and we had to pull off to the next one. And this is where the plot thickens a touch, is that it's you got to go around. Like in order to get to where we were, you had to get off the exit and then drive.
We
a
were
good
westbound, and the actual building for the exit
was on the
eastbound side.
Or south.
Well, yeah, but there's like a pass through under the road to get to the other side where you can be at that building.
Yeah. So you know how sometimes if your car dies but you don't put the brakes on where it'll just keep rolling, right? And if you run out of if you ran out of gas, you keep that thing rolling until you get to the gas station. Mm-hmm. Okay, well the thing was rolling at this point, but I saw that I wasn't going to be able to make it with just the
momentum.
Kinetic energy, is that what it is?
Momentum. Yeah.
Momentum. All right. So with the moment, I was trying to use the scientific term.
Momentum is a scientific
It's a scientific term.
I thought there was another word for it, like kinetic energy.
Inertia.
So. Inertia. That's a better term than momentum. I see this what's going to happen today, by the way, guys. So that's cool. All right, so we're doing this, right? And the thing's stopping. So I'm like, I got to get out of the car. I got to get out of the car and start pushing. So I'm like, Danielle, you got to come over to you got to switch over to the driver's seat as soon as I get out of the car. So the thing's still rolling. Now I didn't think it was rolling that fast. So I didn't realize, I didn't judge it correctly, that's for sure. But my thought was, what I wanted to make sure happened is that I didn't get run over. Like I wanted to jump out to make sure that I didn't have a foot get stuck and then all of a sudden it runs me over. So I didn't want to do that. So I jumped out, take 2 steps, and just fall right down. And I fall backwards. I smash my elbow and I smash the back of my head.
Oh my god!
But at the same time that this happens, the car's still rolling.
And I'm in the car. I jump into the driver's seat, and I get in there all right. Like I'm not stuck on anything. I get in the driver's seat, and all of a sudden I hear oh, and I'm like, and I don't see him anymore out the back window. And I'm like, oh my god, what do I do if he's really hurt? I should stop the car and go help him. I'm like, but if he's not hurt and I put on the brakes, I've lost all the forward motion of the car.
Yeah. So I have to get, and the car's still going. So I have to get up quick. So I get up quick, probably as quick as I've ever gotten up before in my life. And I start running and chasing after the damn car. I finally catch up to the car and keep pushing. Finally push it into a parking spot.
Which was probably about a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile from where you started pushing.
Yeah, it was a ways. So it was tiring. I'm not gonna lie, it was tiring. So if we finally parked there, Danielle parks in between 2 spots.
Because I was gonna pull into the straight one, and all of a sudden, halfway through I'm telling you, I'm gonna pull to the straight one. You're like, no, turn the wheel. So I didn't have the proper plan on turning the wheel into the space.
That's one way of saying it. That's one way of saying it. And you know what? We're gonna leave it like that. We'll just leave it like that. We parked there. Then we had to call the Wiley, and the Wiley, bless his heart. God bless. You vote for Adrian Wiley if for any other reason, this reason alone. Dude drove from Clearwater to Miami to pick us up to bring us home on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
That's pals. Yeah. That is pals right there. Because you know what?
4 hours there, 4 hours back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pals. So, and we're down there waiting for a long time. We missed the EC call. We miss all other kinds of stuff. And halfway through, like an hour before Adrian gets there, the tow truck gets there to tow the vehicle away.
The tow truck was also quite far away because of where we were in the middle of nowhere.
That's true. It's very true. So Adrian does finally come. Now, the thing is that we did get lucky enough to where the exit that we were at had a building.
Right.
And it was like, the bathrooms and stuff like that and all the government propaganda that's on the inside of how they want to spend a bunch of money on the Everglades. Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I really do now start to just get completely irked at all the advertising money that this government spends when it comes to trying to sell you the propaganda that they're putting forward. Like buying the media is not enough, right? Like being able to have a propaganda arm in the government is not enough. You literally have to make propaganda at exits.
This was an entire building completely made so that tourists can come in or Floridians can come in and they can sell you on why they should keep government programs for the Everglades.
Yeah, exactly. It was... and in the same exit, though, is a fire department.
Right. Probably for people like us that break down.
Well, I didn't see the fire department come on and help us, so...
Well,
I don't know what they were.
You're libertarian.
That first truck that jumped you so you could fix the car in the space,
That's a road ranger provided by State Farm.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, no. Those things are provided by insurance companies.
Well, because that little tow truck was actually in the fire department bay when we pulled in, so I just assumed that they were a part of that because they were in the bay.
No. The Road Rangers are bought. I think those vehicles are bought by the insurance companies because you see on the side like State Farm.
Well,
brought
and
to you
that's
by
why
State Farm.
private industry always does it better, because the fire department did not come on us, but the Road Ranger provided by State Farm did.
Yeah.
Yes. Like a good neighbor.
So, and I thought that one was pretty good. What is that noise, by the way?
It's someone doing their lawn.
I'm sorry, man. I heard that. I'm like, I don't know if that's it's like a rebel phone or something that's going off. So we wait for Adrian, but what happens is that we got to take our stuff out of the vehicle. Now, this place is also a place where semis would stop and rest overnight, and they have security there. So there's this guy walking around with a gun, and he's the Whack and Hut guy. He's the security guy. So we're sitting there inside the thing with our bags and stuff like that. And he's like, is that your guys' stuff over there? We're like, yeah, it's our stuff. What are you guys doing here? And he was asking in a very...
Almost, a very suspicious tone.
Yeah, in a suspicious tone. And again, I'm not in a bad mood. I'm surprisingly I was in a good mood.
Right.
I'm stuck on the side of the road here
for hours.
But I'm in a good mood, and car broke down. We got to bring it inside, man. You can't be outside, man. All these bugs and stuff.
The mosquitoes are like 3 to 4 inches big. They're like
his attitude instantly changes over it. He's like, okay, that's cool, man. And he was a good guy. We had a great experience with the guy. And we were talking to him for a little bit.
He was joking with us about the large amounts of big bugs outside.
Because I'll tell you what, man, there's some mosquitoes in Alligator Alley. I ought to call it Mosquito Alley. Because I think that those mosquitoes are about the size of alligators. I bet you they kill some alligators. Those things are big mosquitoes. Like, there's some big mosquitoes. Like, I had one, when I hit it, man, it didn't look like, and it didn't get me, but it had blood in it already. So when I hit that thing, blood spattered, man. It was spatter marks, man. It was crazy.
It looked like a crime scene.
We got some big mosquitoes in Florida. No
You
joke.
ain't kidding,
I mean,
brother.
Yeah.
children snatching size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that, and the Whack and Hut guy said the two of them were arguing the other day whether they're going to take him out and kill him or not. So luckily they voted against it. So
Show up as a gang strapped with AKs.
yeah.
It's my turf.
So finally, Adrian does show up, and I wouldn't say finally, but
Yeah,
he does show up.
It was just a long drive. It wasn't like
Yeah.
he was dragging his feet.
Yeah, he wasn't stopping smelling the roses and shit. So he's
I gotta say, I've never been so happy to see Adrian. I mean, it's not like it's like, oh, Adrian's here. No. That night it was like, oh my god, I'm so happy to see Adrian.
So he takes us home, and then Tuesday I got to drive back down there because I had to scrap the vehicle and sell it. Sold it for like $300. Call it a day. Called it a career. The vehicle's gone.
And she did have 266,000 miles on it.
That's where it ended at.
So is her final resting place a rest stop in Alligator Alley, or has she been relocated?
No, relocated. Somebody bought it. Somebody bought
it.
Okay.
One of the guys that buy junk cars. Okay, well they bought it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they took it to a dealership because it was a, I don't know where they took it, but it ended up getting towed to a Firestone or whatever. It was a Goodyear place actually, and I went down there and
Said your final goodbyes, had a moment with her.
took all the other stuff that was in there out of it, and that was it.
But she served us well for a long time, and we personally have taken like 3 trips to Georgia with that car, just within the last year and a half.
Yeah. That car has seen Pensacola to Palm or to Key West, and all points in between, man.
And several times over.
There ain't a county in this state. That vehicle ain't been through.
Yeah.
May not have stopped in. May not have did anything there. But I've driven through all of them with that vehicle, man. All of them, straight up.
Yeah.
No kidding around. No BS. All of them. So God bless America. So that was good. And good on the Wiley, by the way. It really was
Yes.
good on the Wiley. And while it did kind of suck, at the same time, I do view it as, you gotta remember the life that you lived, not, dwell on the past, I guess you could say.
Yeah, we have to think about the good times we had.
Yes. yes, that's true. That's very, very true, by the way, Danielle. Thank you for reminding me of that. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
So on to Adrian.
You know, like, you're so abrupt with things, like, you know, like, and just, you know, because we talk about the segues and how Alex butchers them all the time. I'm gonna do a little segue class since we were already talking about Adrian. You're like, and speaking of Adrian, last night there was an event that was also far away, also a lot of driving, and see, that gets it into the, like, the it's the same subject. Now we can go into the next story.
Yeah. All right. Well, good job. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Adrian Wiley is a libertarian candidate running for governor.
WileyForGovernor.com.
WileyForGovernor.com. And today's the sign wave day, so at 4 o'clock today, if you'd like to, go out to your nearest intersection and make your own damn sign and go out there and wave a sign. Wave said sign that you've made for Adrian Wiley for governor.
I'll be sign waving. I'm
That's cool.
taking the kids out too.
Are you really?
That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
we actually have a brilliant idea for a sign.
Brilliant!
Yes.
It's going to say vote for Adrian or my daddy will spank me. Do it for the kids. Vote Wiley. Do it for the kids. Is that what it is?
No, actually, it's going to be there's 2 adults and 2 children. WileyForGovernor.com.
Oh, that's cool.
That actually is pretty cool.
That is cool. That's awesome.
All right, that's a good time. That's a good time.
Yeah, that is cool.
And a good use of kids.
Yes.
Oh, wait, we're all for exploiting the children for political
Absolutely.
gain.
Child labor.
Look, okay, here's the thing. Back to the story though. When I ran for office, we had spies that would, there were people that belonged to the Rubio camp that would come and
Watch your speeches.
and watch speeches and stuff like that, and hear what I said, and then take that information back to Rubio, and they would take the things that they liked, and then they would say that stuff because they realized what I was saying was very good.
Right. So Alex would give a speech, and then 2 days later, we'd hear Rubio say the exact same words on TV.
Yeah.
Yes.
The difference being that Adrian was able to, or that Rubio was able to take what I had said in a place that maybe 50 people heard and put it on a medium in which millions of people could have heard.
Right.
I wonder why he won. So,
Glad you could help him with that.
You're welcome.
Feel bad that they always say that libertarians are there to change the conversation. I just kind of feel bad the fact that it changed his conversation so he could win, not so he would do anything that was actually even remotely libertarian.
He stole my platform. He won, that bastard.
Well, that's why people are like, do you feel bad? I'm like, well, not really, because the dude stole my stuff and he won with it. So at least what I was talking about was a winner.
My message was a winner.
Yeah. I just didn't have enough money to make it happen. So, at any rate, so the Rube would steal my stuff. But one thing that they did not do, at least I don't remember them doing it, was to bring in people to argue with me.
They specifically brought in people to argue with Alex?
No.
Okay.
Not with
No,
Alex.
not with me. They did not bring in people to events
They would just watch him, like,
to
okay,
ask
what's
questions.
he saying?
They would just ask questions, and I didn't know who they were. Okay, well, Adrian has stepped up the game.
Yes.
Adrian is actually a very good communicator when it comes to doing this thing. And he's good at answering questions. He's good on the fly. He does a lot of good stuff. He's almost as good as me. He's close. No,
He's getting there.
he'll get there one day. When he grows up, he eats his vitamins, he trains, he continues to go down the road here. Maybe in about a decade, maybe he'll get there.
Well, he's getting some intensive training with all
Oh,
the,
yeah, he ain't kidding.
so he's getting there.
So what they do, though, is it started off with they would bring in whatever the county chair of the rec is. The rec county chair would end up showing up to Adrian's meetings sometimes.
Whatever event it is, the county rec chair and every organizer of these meetings would say, they've never shown up before. And we're like, oh, yeah, they're here for us. No big deal, And every time we'd go to a meeting, they'd be like, the chairman of our county Republican executive committee is here. They've never been here before. Like, it's like this big deal, And we're like, oh, yeah, they follow us around, Yeah.
No. Okay. So now normally it's just one, maybe one or two. And then it's like maybe the committee woman or something, the committee man, state committee man or whatever.
No, we've never had the state. One other time we had a state committee man, but most of the time it's a couple officials in the local rec.
Yeah, a couple officials out there. And Adrian, and I don't know why these guys do this, by the way. It's kind of funny that for some reason these people think that they actually know something.
Or that they're going to catch him on something.
Yeah, or they're going to catch Adrian on some kind of lie or something. Or that their level 1A talking point has some kind of an effectiveness.
Right.
Now, with again against arguing, look, if you can argue the case and we have the bully pulpit and they don't, you're screwed, dude.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of trouble. Because you can't, you're going to have to depend on using the media and using the force of government to try to silence us. When we're in a room like that,
You can't.
even game, so that means you're screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, you should know that going into it, but they don't because they're Republicans. So what happens is that Adrian goes, and that now they've adjusted a little bit. One time they even had a comedian. This time, though, they had 3 county chairs. So the Palm Beach, the Martin, and the St. Lucie County chairs, the chairmen of those county GOPs were all there, and 2 state committee people, right?
One state committee woman.
One state committee woman.
And the chairman of the local Republican club.
As the chair of the local Republican club.
So and this is funny because we didn't find out until after when we were on the way home. The Martin County Republican Club, the Martin County Republican Party at their headquarters was hosting the Martin County Tea Party. But the Martin County chairman of the Republican Party was in St. Lucie County listening to Adrian. He didn't even go to the meeting being at his headquarters.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, because what they do is they do things like that to try to limit attendance to these things.
Yeah.
Even though they make with their attendance, but
Right.
whole different story for a different day. So Adrian goes and does his speech and stuff like that, and then these people are going back and forth. And I wasn't there, but Danielle was. So go ahead and take over for this part of the story.
Right. So, and Adrian gives his, it actually was a little different than his normal speech because we knew on the way in, we had called them and said the GPS got us to a different location. Where are you? So they were giving us directions into the location. And the organizer of the group says, and we're getting kind of used to this, but they're like, we have 5 Republican leadership people here. And we normally have the one, he comes and goes, he's not always here, but the chairman of the Republican club comes here every once in a while. But there's 4 others, and they've set up a video camera. And we're like, wow, 5. That's a record. Awesome. So,
And a video camera.
and a video camera. The state committee woman brought a video camera. So the one that would report to the RPOF directly brought a video camera so she could just bring the whole video. Awesome. So Adrian's like, I think I'm going to change up my speech a little, kind of add a few things. So we're like, okay, we're talking about it in the car. We were only a few minutes away, so it wasn't like a big in-depth conversation.
Right.
He gets in there, and he really goes along the track of, the 2 parties being exactly the same. And as he was talking about votes on different issues, what we've gotten out of government, who supported it, the bipartisan support for these things, he keeps looking at the one state committee woman and say, you should write that down. They're going to want to know that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Then he talked about his own polling numbers, and he's like, with 5 Republican 5 people from the Republican leadership here, obviously, they've confirmed it too. I'm polling at 16%. He's like, you can confirm that for them, right? He's looking at them. And it was fun, but he gave his normal, and the crowd loved him, of course, and he gets the Q&A. And as we're going through the Q&A, now each one of them are asking questions, but they're very leading questions, very, and well, if you think they're both the same, what about in 1978 when this one won and this one lost, and obviously those 2 people were different.
Hold on a second. Let me a little commentary on the side here. If you have to actually go back to 78 to give an example of how they're not the same, then you really have failed in life.
You don't get it. You really don't get it.
And your argument is about the worst argument that you could possibly have. I really would think that you could come up with a better argument than when disco was king. This is what was going on. Please continue, Daniel.
They were different when there was disco.
Yeah. When the Bee Gees were out there and it was popular and it was number 1. You know what I mean? When people were walking around going, how deep is your love? How deep is your love? I really need... these people need to really learn an argument, actually. Go ahead, Daniel.
Our better music era.
Hey, by the way, there's nothing wrong with the Bee Gees, by the way. I am not making fun of the Bee Gees. That is one of my guilty pleasures.
So, someone else asked about, well, you say, because in Adrian's speech, and he says this everywhere, if all he accomplishes as governor is that he's vetoed every bill that's come across his desk and government couldn't hurt us anymore, he would consider that a successful term.
I got to tell you, I agree with him.
I do absolutely agree with him, and almost every person in the room always agrees because they're very excited about that. The government not harming us anymore is very favorable with the public. They should poll that. Yeah. So,
I think they have. It's called approval ratings.
That could be true. So
just saying.
So this lady is, obviously very offended by this, and she says, so you just wouldn't get anything done. And he says, no, I would protect you from the government. And she says, well, you have to work with these people on these things. You have to. And he's going, as she's saying this, no, I don't. And she's like, you won't get anything done. Government won't get anything done. And he goes, okay, I understand where you're going with this, but let me ask you something. What piece of legislation currently up in Tallahassee that has a chance of getting signed do you like? Which one of those are you going to miss if I veto it? And she goes, HB 25. And HB 25 for anyone who doesn't read legislation for enormous amounts of time.
Who's not the wonkiest wonk on the Wonkville.
Who isn't the Wikipedia of legislation. HB 25 is the Common Core halt bill where it would put the implementation of Common Core off for 1 year while they studied it. And so Adrian, not knowing all the numbers, but he did know about the Common Core halt bill, just not knowing the number, goes, Danielle, what's going on with HB 25? Because he does know that I'm the Wikipedia of legislation.
Right. He knows who to go to.
I said, HB 25 got committee assignments, was never heard by one committee. The only committee that is going to be meeting after the break is the Rules Committee. It had 4 committees to go through before it went to the Rules Committee. So this is a dead bill. Can't happen.
Once again, comment. Let me make another comment on this. The thing that these guys aren't understanding is that these committee men and committee women actually don't know what goes on in Tallahassee. And I'm not saying, even though that's very funny, and it's kind of scary at the same time, I'm not saying it for a negative reason. I'm saying it because they just don't know. They don't think, and they don't think that they need to know because their representatives know, and they just tell them what there's going on.
They trust them implicitly.
Yeah, they trust them that much where they're just going to trust what the hell's going on up there. We don't. So not only do we, and the thing is this, we know what's going on in Tallahassee. We can tell you what's going on in Tallahassee. We can tell you why it went on, who got paid off, and what bills and what committee and where it's going. So you are when it comes to that part, you are messing with the wrong people.
You're way out of your league.
And Adrian knows, but he only knows so much because he only remembers so much. You bring Danielle into the mix, and there ain't much that they haven't figured out. So, you're screwed, people. Here's the thing, WEC people. If Danielle's in the room, don't bring up state legislation. You're going to get buried. Go ahead.
So I said that bill was dead weeks ago. It had no chance weeks ago. We knew this weeks ago. So he goes, okay, listen, pick a bill that actually has a chance of making it through.
Nothing.
And he goes, but I bet you we could talk about bills we don't like the microbrewery bill, which is basically extortion. And he goes into the particulars of the microbrewery bill, and everyone's like, and he's like, is that the one you wanted to make sure I worked with them on? What about the implementation of Common Core like last year? Was that something I was supposed to work with them on? Or did you want me to work with them on taking away the Second Amendment rights for people who voluntarily go into counseling? Is that the one you wanted me to make sure to compromise on? And she was very quiet after that.
I'm sure.
Yeah, these people are getting shut up. But not because Adrian's telling them to shut up, because he's throwing enough facts out there where they got nothing to say. They're 1A talking points, and that's what they are. 1A talking points. You people, you know what, I hate to use this.
You're not even good enough to be in the farm team yet.
Yeah. You're not. I don't even know. Look, what do you people pay attention to? Quit going to rec meetings and start looking at some damn legislation that's going on. Maybe then you'd have a clue as to what these people are doing in Tallahassee, which also may mean that you would understand a little bit why we won't join the Republican Party. So, maybe if you actually knew what your party was doing in Tallahassee, maybe then you would go, well, maybe I shouldn't belong with this group. Maybe they're a little bit bad. So, ask Berkowitz if he's going to go back to the GOP after this.
So
let me take you to Tallahassee for a week. I'm sorry. I'm ranting here. I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah. Let me be quiet.
Don't tell me to tell a story and then not let me tell it.
I gotta allow for the commentary.
He's all fire and brimstone this morning.
Damn it!
You were in a good mood. So,
I am in a good mood. That was a good damn it.
So
you're doing a great job too.
So the lady was.
Have I told you how much I respect you? I
swear to God, if you interrupt me again, I'm gonna stop telling the story.
That was totally intentional, just to push you.
The last one was completely. Actually, the last two were gratuitous.
So now someone else. He goes, "I'm criminals and thieves up in Tallahassee. Run your life." And someone else who is a Republican, and I don't know which county they were from, goes, "You're calling them all criminal and thieves. There's some good people up there." He goes, "Yeah, name them." So now people are naming people. So someone goes, well, this one. And he goes, well, that one gets paid by this person over there. Don Gates. Well, this one gets paid by this one over there. And he's naming. So someone goes, Joe Negron. And he goes, well, I like Joe Negron. I said, oh, except he took Anheuser-Busch money. And he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot. We just looked that up. He took Anheuser-Busch money. Want to know where your microbrewery bill is? Yeah, talk to Anheuser-Busch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The problem is coming into play here. Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't done. That was not gratuitous to interrupt. I thought you were done. Let me be quiet.
Now, the best one after all this. Now, everyone's fired up. These five are getting, people are mad at them now. Because people are like, yeah, he's right. So this guy says, and so Adrian goes into, you want to know about real corruption? You want to talk about corruption? Let's talk about it. And he goes, what about Rick Scott? And someone goes, Medicaid. He goes, no, that one's too easy. He says, pleading the fifth. He goes, pleading the fifth 75 times while your friends go to jail. That one's too easy. He says, what about the drug testing for the state workers that Rick Scott all of a sudden started to push? Did you know Rick Scott used to own the third largest drug testing company in the state that won the no-bid contract? He said, but, of course, before he started pushing it, he did sell the company to Mrs. Rick Scott. So this guy, he goes, and Adrian goes, that's corruption. And this guy's like, that's not corruption. That's making sure that the money that the taxpayers spend is spent wisely. He goes, what are you saying? You don't want people that are on the government dole to get drug tested? And Adrian goes, no, I want to end the government dole. And the room explodes in applause.
Oh yeah, that's little red meat right there. Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for red meat in that room, that little red meat right there. That's throwing a steak out there for you. See what happens.
And they didn't say another word after.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Oh, hold on. Are you finished?
That's done.
Okay. Let me I'm on my ending commentary. On this thing. I can't even segue into the commentary on the same subject the right way. But I don't care because I'm going to do it anyway. Because you know what, though? That's my business.
That's how I roll.
That's how I roll. So the problem is that they send these committee men and committee women in, and these people think, because they hang out with a bunch of yes people, that they're going to be able to have somewhat of a coherent argument with either Adrian or Danielle or myself. Go in there and tell them what's what. You don't even know what's what anyway. Like, you don't know a damn thing. You don't know what goes on in Tallahassee. You don't know what these guys are doing up there. You don't know how bad it is because you believe with the crap that they're shoveling to you because you're a damn sheep. You're a dumbass. Again, I'm not even saying this to be mean. I'm saying this to hopefully wake you the hell up. Like, you really need to know that they're lying to you and that you need to go to Tallahassee for yourself and you need to find out what they're doing. And you know that you're not going to be able to argue with us when we go in there, except for you're going to with the vote. You're going to with the vote and the Democrat is going to win. Here's the thing. And the reason you want to argue that you're not the same is because for some reason you don't think that you are. And you are. It's not, but it's looking committee man and committee women. It's those people. It's the chairs, the ECs. Those people are lying to you. And your elected officials are not. First off, your state, your county chairs do not seem intelligent enough to be able to challenge these people up in Tallahassee anyway. And if they happen to do this, they'll be removed from office. Because you can't challenge the Republican GOP, you can't challenge the GOP elected officials, or you'll be removed from office. And you can pass all the damn resolutions you want. You passed a resolution against Common Core. What happened? Implemented Common Core. They didn't even, again, they own Tallahassee. It's almost veto proof. Republicans in the House, in the Senate, in the governors, all the other positions up there, all Republicans. All of them. If the GOP passes a resolution that says the Common Core needs to be stopped, and these people up there don't stop it, then you have to consider that your time in the GOP to be a failure. Only because they won't stop it. They won't. Again, it's not even that you're a failure. It's not recognize. Now, I'm not saying it's any easier doing it through the LP right now. It'd be a lot easier if you actually helped us, though. That'd be kind of fun. Let's start with a campaign, WileyForGovernor.com. And all these committee men and committee women, the county chairs, I'd like the next one to go in there. And you know what? I'd like you to make a deal with yourself. Don't make a deal with me. Make a deal with yourself. If you try to argue with Adrian and he beats you, you should leave the GOP. And join the Wiley campaign. Publicly. Again, you guys are being led down the river with Rick Scott. And Rick Scott is a moron. I know that we shouldn't be saying bad things like that, but the dude's a moron.
Now, you saw him because he gave a speech or was answering questions.
He was answering questions.
Last night, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was answering questions. In his answering of questions, this dude in every interview, before he starts talking, does is he will say those 3 or 4 sentences to whatever the question is that's being asked, and what he'll do is he'll change tone and level and inflection and a couple other things, but basically say the same thing that he just said over and over and over again. Because Rick Scott, and I don't know how this happened. Again, I never can understand how some of these people who are very, very rich got that way, because it ain't like they're smart enough. I mean, dude's a moron. Dude's a straight-up moron. Has no understanding of policy whatsoever. He's worse than the damn county chairs. They are going to fight tooth and nail to not have Adrian in these debates, by the way. Mm-hmm. And the reason is he will destroy them. He will destroy Rick Scott and Charlie Crist. It will be a bloodbath. And I'm not talking like a literal bloodbath, like Adrian going to walk in there with a machete and start doing stuff. But honestly,
it's a verbal bloodbath.
He's bringing verbal machetes with him, and he's going to verbally machete Rick Scott and Charlie Crist, man. And it is going to be ugly, and those guys are going to look like morons, and it won't matter how many times you come down there and videotape him, how many times you watch him, how many times you do that other stuff, because that dude speaks from the heart. I mean, he speaks from the heart like I did. When it comes to being able to say those things very, very quickly. I kept my stuff down at like a 5th grade level. Adrian kind of raises his stuff up, which is not necessarily a good thing in every situation, but for debates, I think it'll actually work.
Well, and I feed him a lot of the facts and figures on stuff too. And even as we're having this debate, we're talking about, and he went down why do we still have red light cameras? If you guys, he goes, who in this room is in favor of red light cameras? And nobody raises their hand. He goes, right. He goes, and that's pretty indicative of the entire population of Florida. Very few people actually want red light cameras. They're to get rid of red light cameras. Still have them. If all the people want to get rid of them, the legislation is there to get rid of them. Why do we still have them? And he goes, you want to know why? Because American Traffic Solutions gives hundreds of thousands of dollars to Republican candidates and leadership and the party. And the committee woman who was there kind of, she made that sound. And I heard that and I was like, in just the last year, the last 2 election cycles, American Traffic Solutions has donated $294,000 just to the Republican Party of Florida. And everyone went, oh. Yeah. And then she got she was very mad.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing, too. With these little trolls. Don't get mad at us. It's not our fault that they gave that money to the GOP.
I didn't ask them to.
Yeah, I'm not part of that. Clearly. All we're doing is laying out the facts, what they have done. What you choose to do with that information is your business, not mine. But don't get mad when we tell the truth. Again, you guys want to say, well, you guys don't have anybody in office, and you're going to split the vote, you're going to do all this stuff. Now, again, let me ask you a question, man. If you were Burger King or McDonald's, and they could make a rule saying that Taco Bell can't be around, and Taco Bell kept trying to go, and Burger King would go, well, if you're going to vote for Taco Bell, man, you're going to split the vote, and McDonald's is going to win. Do you think that they have a financial incentive to tell you the truth, to tell you honestly that these guys are in the bag, or that they're in the bag with the Dems, and that they're actually doing this to keep anybody else out of this process? Again, why would you believe the GOP when it comes to the split in the vote argument? Why would you believe them? They're incentivized. It's to their advantage to do that. They're biased. Now, I'm also biased in the fact that it's a tough road to hoe, so I tell you a little bit of the truth. I don't lie to you like these people do. It's amazing. It's amazing to watch the amount of lies that go on by these Republican politicians and county chairs. It really is. It's sad all at the same time. It's just, I can't believe we're not winning. I can't believe that Adrian is not at 45% of the vote right now. Now he's at 16 solid.
Yeah.
But and again, they're gonna pull out their poll. The polls that are honest, the ones that are honest, Adrian will be at like 16%. The ones that aren't honest, though, they'll manipulate it, because if you don't put anybody else's name there, that drastically changes what people are allowed, what people are going to say and not say.
Right.
And so that screws up your numbers entirely. But if Adrian gets in these debates or gets in front of enough people, Rick Scott and Charlie Crist, you have no hope left. Because here's the thing. Chris, you're just as bad.
Right.
And all you are is an employee of the ambulance chaser at this point. So that's all you are.
Adrian did use that last night.
What did he use?
He used the employee of an ambulance chaser.
Oh, the ambulance chaser's employee?
Well, he didn't say it like that. What he said is, he was talking about how Charlie Crist raised the budget by $3 billion Charlie Crist raised the budget by $3 billion while he was in office. And he says, and, Rick Scott was very much different than that. He was very different. He raised the budget by $9 billion. And he said, so he says, but not that Charlie Crist is any better, because Charlie Crist is basically the puppet of the largest ambulance chaser in the state. He's his employee.
Oh, Ooh, that's hardcore.
That's nice.
I got to tell you, though, I'm going to have to talk to Adrian about that, though. I'm going to have to get my lawyer, Morgan & Morgan, on that. God, I hate those guys. So, at any rate, though, when it comes back to the Wiley, these guys are so incredibly scared of this cat, it's not even funny. They really are. They are totally scared. Chris, Rick Scott don't want nothing to do with this cat. They're not gonna want to get this guy in the debates, and if he gets in, they're in a lot of trouble, man. They are in a lot of trouble. Yeah. And here's the other thing: nobody really likes Rick Scott and Charlie Crist right now. They don't have a fan base. They have people that are at best right now willing to hold their nose. Yeah. Right. That's what they have.
Exactly.
I'll say this: I'll bet you Rick Scott has 10%, and Charlie Crist has 10% of the population that absolutely adore them. You know what I mean? Like the same people that end up like cutting off their nether regions because some kind of cult leader would tell them to do that stuff. Like those kind of people, that's the people that they got.
The Kool-Aid drinkers.
Yeah, they got the severe Kool-Aid drinkers is who Rick Scott and Charlie Crist have.
They don't even question it. They're like, yeah, give me that with ice.
A straw.
It was a room full of people who were, kind of in the middle from the beginning, just kind of like, I don't know what if, and they were, you can almost feel like the thoughts going on in the room when Adrian first gets to some of these. Yeah, but we don't want to split the vote. And, but by the end, I invite more leadership from the RPOF and the county recs to come out and please ask questions, ask often. Because you took a crowd of people that were kind of like, I don't know what to do, going, this is the only person I can vote for because these other people just made his case for him.
Yeah. Yep.
So please send 10 next time. I mean, you guys are the best recruiting tool we can have.
Yeah. They really, again, they have no, their ninja skills are not good. They have low ninja. You use some of these people, and I hate to steal a term from Rush Limbaugh, but they need more GOP committee, state, county, or county chairs that are not what I would consider to be low information voters. Because you are. You guys are straight up low information voters. I'm shocked of how much information you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always shocked, that of what they will say, because it's like, man, I mean, you're like teeing it up. Like, I'd almost think you were on our side.
Yeah. Part of me does think that sometimes, like when they're asking these questions, like, well, do you? I mean, I'm halfway insulted and thankful at the same time, because part of me is thinking like you're really helping us out here.
Yeah.
But do you think we're that dumb too?
Yeah. When she, she goes into this, well, in 1978. This person won, and down the line, that's how we got Barbara Boxer.
Yeah.
And she made that connection. It was so kind of wonky, it was like, what?
Yeah.
And Adrian looks and he goes, okay, let's go to 2006. You had a Republican president, a Republican Senate, a Republican House. In Florida, you had a Republican governor, a Republican legislature, both sides. And what did you get? The NSA, the TSA, the DHS, the Patriot Act, the NDAA. The deficit went through the roof. He says you had rampant unemployment and the biggest housing and economic crisis that we've seen in decades. That's what you got. You had it all, and that's what you gave us. And she didn't say anything after that either.
How could you?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't blame you. How could I don't know. How could
you can't from happening, let alone accomplish anything.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't understand. I really have a hard time understanding where these people are coming from. I'm shocked every time that they open their mouths. It's like, oh my God, you people make it easy. Adrian has to challenge himself at a higher level because the arguments that he could use to win it seem like it's cheating to him.
And we prep them for hard questions, I mean, and every team does this with their candidate. You almost play devil's challenge every position. You just keep, but what about this? But what about this? And I almost feel like we're really overdoing it. Because we have actual, when he proposes a policy, it's like, well, what about and what about that? So he's got an answer for all of it. He has to work out the solution to the issue because of all the things that we're giving him to have to work out. And by the time he gets in front of the people, he's like, man, I can answer anything. And then they go into, but in 1978, this Republican lost to this Democrat, and now we have this. And we're like, what?
You weren't prepared for going 30 years in the past, were you?
He goes into like the Intrastate Commerce Act, and we've, well, what about Wickard versus Filburn? And, what about this Supreme Court case? And he's got the answer to all of it. And they're like, but, they're not going to like that. The feds are going to be mad. Are you willing to fight that?
Well, aren't you? What are you doing in this meeting, you dumbass?
Well, the Fed said it's okay. I guess we gotta listen.
So I mean, we've over-prepared him for sure.
I like doing that.
No, I do too, and I'd
much rather have that.
But he's ready for the Supreme Court case precedent that he can counter, and they're like, but they're gonna send a strongly worded letter. What are you gonna do?
Well, first off, I'm going to make sure that I maintain my balls in my pants and don't hand them over to my wife like some of you people did. Bunch of spineless cockroaches, man. What's wrong with these people? Again, man, have a sack, man. If you think here's the thing, man. We've gone to enough of these meetings, and they're going, the country's going to hell in a handbasket, and we don't have time, and Obama's destroying the place, and all this other kind of stuff, and so we'll go in there and go, yeah, so we should stop him at the border. Well, I don't know if we can do that.
And Adrian went into, and this was Adrian was like, well, let's talk about unemployment, and he's like, we know Obama, he keeps, he does that. Lying about the unemployment rates to make himself look better because he just stopped counting people that have dropped out of the workforce. And everyone in the room, even these committee men and all,
This is good, by the way.
he is. Obama's bad. He lies about the numbers. He does bad math, and you can hear it. People are saying this. And he's like, but you know, and you've all heard, Rick Scott has lowered the unemployment to 6.2%. And Rick Scott lowered the unemployment to 6.2%. Yeah. And he goes, because he used the same math and stopped counting 440,000 people and that have dropped out of the workforce. And everyone went, oh, what?
Dropping landmines in that place, man. And leading you down the path, and you're like, yeah. Oh, crap.
Just drop the bottom from
How these people could vote for Rick Scott now is beyond me.
They can't, and that's the thing.
And that's why that's why you GOP people are having are dedicating 15 minutes at time to some of your meetings to discuss how you're going to deal with Wiley. Don't act. Here's the other thing, and this is the other thing I really want to get. One other thing I want to say right now, and I know I got a couple minutes here, so I'm gonna go ahead and rant. Let me get a little bit of a rant in here. Don't tell us that we don't matter when you got 5 of your people showing up to events. When you guys have been showing up to every event, don't you dare tell us that we don't have an effect. Because if we didn't have an effect, you wouldn't be there. If we didn't have an effect, you wouldn't be dedicating the time that you're dedicating to Wiley's to see how you're going to challenge Wiley's campaign. It's just sad that you haven't dedicated that time to actually learning about the Constitution and learning why Adrian takes the positions that he does and learning that you should actually be supporting people like Adrian instead of scumbags like Rick Scott. The simple fact is that Scott's bad. And here, let me give it in terms you're going to understand. Scott, bad. Chris, bad. Adrian, good. Game, set, match, folks. Scott, bad. Chris, bad. Wiley, good. Now, go into your house today. Find a big blank piece of paper or something else that's all white. Write Wiley, WYLLIEFOR, governor. Or gov, if you want to put gov. Put governor. Ask somebody how to spell it. And at 4 o'clock today, go out to just your nearest corner. Don't go too far. Don't get into the street. Stay on this side of the yellow line. And go out there and hold a sign for Adrian and do your part today. Again, I know that you're very, very intelligent person. You know exactly what's going on in Tallahassee, and that you can effectively do that. However, if you didn't know what was going on, you'd be a libertarian. All I'm saying. all I'm getting at here. Now, again, it's not everybody in the GOP because we got a lot of people that are in the Republican Party, or even Democrats and Independents that are helping Adrian out in his campaign. Yes. So it is a bipartisan or all partisan, all partisan effort here. Get on board, though. Seriously, get on board with Wiley's campaign. Quit making yourself look like a fool. Because every day you spend in the GOP saying Rick Scott's a good guy is just one more day that you look like a moron. And you really shouldn't look like a moron. You ever seen those DirecTV commercials?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't look like a moron by supporting Rick Scott. Purchase, or not purchase, not the right word for it, but go support Adrian Wiley. Give him money, too. Matter of fact, while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and just lob off a donation to Adrian Wiley, make it about $3,000. You owe him at least that much. So, I'm done now.
Awesome. Getting back from St. Lucie was, we didn't get back till about 1:30 in the morning, but it was...
I had to stay up for that, by the way.
You did have to stay up because you had to let me in. I didn't have keys with me. But, and you say it like you're up later than that every night anyways.
Yeah, but I would have gone to bed earlier if that night. So.
But then why didn't you go to bed after I got back?
Well, then I was up at that point.
Well.
But, yeah, okay. So, but and this is, like I said, I hope they come out more. I watch a crowd that I can kind of see is kind of like, well, I like what he's saying, but I don't know. We don't want to split the vote. And, we really don't want the Democrat. And then it's like, the clarity doesn't come through that the Democrat was the same Republican you were campaigning for. Just saying. You didn't even have to go into that one, But
totally right, though. Totally damn right. Again, you love Chris then. Now all of a sudden he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
What? You didn't like it that he got a little tanner? The spray tan ain't working for you now. Somehow now you're anti-spray tan.
He's too orange for me.
Yeah.
He was just the right color orange in 2006.
This goes to show you, if you hug people, there are consequences to those actions. Don't be a hugger.
Don't show the love.
Yeah. So there, and I actually got in the car, and I don't know if I should give this out, although I have to say I give them lots of information that they don't use, but the Republican Party, I really would be, because honestly, you have no chance with Rick Scott versus Charlie Crist, by the way, because you literally have the former Republican governor against the current Republican governor that both legislated the exact same way. You want to talk about no difference between candidates? I'm not even going to go there is no difference between the parties, but let's just look at the governor's race for a minute, because I know we only have a couple of them anyways. You literally have the former Republican governor against the current Republican governor that, when you look at legislation side by side, legislated nearly identical to each other. So when you go into the, for all you Democrats that go, yeah, but we could split the vote and Rick Scott could win re-election. Same person. They legislated. Charlie Crist might. Again, you campaigned for him in 2006. So guess what, Democrats? The guy who you're afraid might lose if you vote for Adrian is the guy you hated in 2006. And Republicans, the guy that you think might lose because you vote for Adrian Wiley is the same. I mean, the guy that you think might win if you vote for Adrian Wiley is the same guy you campaigned for in 2006. So let's remember those feelings of 2006 when you hated them or love them, and say splitting the vote really doesn't matter.
Yeah. Again, what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is one of those two could win.
If you're a Republican who has donated money to the Republican Party in Florida, you should have no worries. One way or the other, somebody you gave money to is going to win.
Yeah. It's either the one that was the. Does it really matter? Does it really matter? I mean, at the end of the day, does it? Again, take your red team, blue team politics out of this. Does it really matter? What is it going to do to legislation? What is it going to do to what they'll do in Tallahassee? I'll tell you this. I'd much rather have a guy like Adrian up there than either Rick Scott or Charlie Crist. And so much so that I don't care about whether Rick Scott or Charlie Crist is going to win. And if you do, then you don't know the problem. And that is the problem. You don't understand that what the real problem in this country is, because you think just because a guy's got an R next to his name, somehow he's going to fix something. Could you please have a little independent thinking here for me? Please? The country kind of depends on it at this point. That you have a little bit of independent thinking and to quit just following line like you're just some damn sheep. You know you don't want to be a sheep, but you're acting like one. Stop acting like one. Start acting like a free-thinking person, for Pete's sake. It's that line of thinking that got us in trouble to begin with, by the way.
I really have faith in people that they're smarter than this.
I thought so. But you guys are starting to make me question it. You know? Again, I see anybody out there, like, yeah, we need to vote for Chris or for Rick Scott. Why? Well, you know, because we can't let Charlie Crist win. Okay, shut up. Never mind. You go away. You have a coherent argument to this whatsoever. You don't even understand, well, more money if he's in office. Oh, no, actually, that was proven correct or incorrect.
He couldn't possibly spend more money.
He proved when he was in office and in charge, he spent less. He got less of an increase than damn Rick Scott did.
Let's stop voting for the guys that are going to increase it.
Yeah.
How about that? What a concept.
Yeah, it ain't even like let's cut the slate of the increase. No. Reduce. REUCE. All right, we got to take a break. Again, phone number 1-800-525-4032. We'll be back. Messages. Damn it.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
The Libertarian Party of Florida is excited to announce the 2014 State Convention. Join libertarians and friends from across the Sunshine State to hear great speakers including 2016 presidential candidate Darrell W. Perry, the chair of the National LP Jeffrey Neal, Donald Belanti, George Phillies, Wes Benedict, Tony Stiles, and more. Be sure to reserve your seat early for the banquet Saturday evening. Keynote speaker Judge Jim Gray. Jim Gray, the former judge of the California Superior Court and author of Why Our Drug Laws Are Failed, was Gary Johnson's 2012 presidential running mate. Arrive early to mix and mingle with friends at the Friday Night Social. All special events are open to the public, so even if you're not a registered libertarian, you are welcome to attend. The convention dates are approaching fast. Join us in Tampa Bay, May 16th through the 18th. Go to lpf2014.org. Get your tickets today.
Proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with camera. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, Pete on 66th Street, just south of location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, Liberty Underground, along with me, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, Tripoli's favorite libertarian, Danielle Alexandre. Danielle, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well.
Also working the controls, as he does so very, very well, Greg Bowen. Greg, how are you doing this morning, sir?
Spectacular.
Spectacular. Yeah. You spectacular. Yeah. All right. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's get right into it. Now, I think what we should do is to go... Where do you guys want to go? Where do you guys want to go first?
Where do you want to go?
Let's do the land dispute.
Okay.
Let's do this. So Danielle, kind of lay this thing out, and people are hearing about this stuff. This is some really nasty stuff that's going on, by the way.
Yeah. Now, this is a rancher who is, and he's not the only one. So I want to make this clear. There's about 900 heads of cattle that is grazing on what is considered federal land. 500 of those cows are his. But 400 of them are not, but they have the federal government has decided that these people, now these families in this area have had their cows grazing on this land since the Wild West. I mean, this has been decades upon decades, and these are family
over
ranchers.
100 years.
Yeah. These are literally family ranches that have gone, passed down generations. The cows have always gone onto this land and grazed. The federal government at one point did buy the land and decided that it was not, that you couldn't bring your cows on to graze in the land. Well, a lot of the ranchers in the area basically said, we were here first.
Yeah, it's public land.
And if this is federal land, this is our land too. And the cows are grazing. It's not like we're destroying, chopping down trees and putting a building.
Yeah.
Cows are eating. You're welcome.
And
you don't need fertilizing the grass and cutting it for you. You're welcome.
Private solutions.
Yeah, the federal government has decided that this is bad, like they often do. And they have started fining the ranchers in there and actually giving them what's called a grazing fee. So the ranchers in the area have said, I'm not paying your grazing fee.
Yeah, your mob payoff.
Right. I thought extortion was illegal. So I'm not going to submit to extortion even when it comes from the federal government. Now, one rancher in particular has been very outspoken on this and said, I'm not paying. And now the fines have gotten up to where his grazing fees are at about $1 million. He's been letting his cows graze there for 20 years while they've been fining him or dollars now. And they said now they've started to get wranglers to actually collect his cows and remove them from the property.
Yeah.
So they've started to steal his cows after they've tried to strong-arm extort him. And he's basically now him and his family have gone out there to defend the cows and saying, you're not stealing my property. These are my cows.
Yeah.
Armed agents, this is now the U.S. Bureau of Land Management.
Yeah, BLM.
Now, why the U.S. Bureau of Land Management has, an armed security force is beyond me, by the way.
Yeah.
Because they're government.
I mean, and they
can only achieve anything through force.
And it's, they have, big weaponry, tasers, it looks like a SWAT team going in. And this is, again, U.S. Bureau of Land Management. Not law enforcement, by the way. U.S. Bureau of Land Management. So they have they set up basically a staging area. Now, the people in the country, this has pretty much gone out. Social media has been crazy with this story. So people started coming out to protest the U.S. Bureau of Land Management. Well, they set up too, and it's right in the middle of the land. They've set up free speech zones.
Yeah, free speech zones. And let me just do one thing here. There is a free speech zone, and it's every state in the country.
It's
The free speech,
All of the land.
all public land.
All
the free
the land
speech
there.
zone starts on the eastern border at the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And
Starts
it
there.
runs west to the Pacific Ocean.
Yep.
Goes north to the Great Lakes.
Yep. And all the way.
Mexico.
Yeah.
That is my understanding of the free speech zone.
Yeah.
I was under the same assumption.
You know why? Because I've read this thing called the First Amendment.
Yeah.
It was pretty clear
Yeah.
to me. You know, I can't speak
Trying to
for
box
everyone.
these people in. It's really just authoritarian all day long. And this whole thing is authoritarian. Go ahead.
So now the rancher, and his name is Clive Bundy. The rancher has said, you'll have to kill me before you start stealing my cows again. Like, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be Wild West style if you take any more of my cows.
Love it.
And now the federal agents have said, okay, then. You know, but militias, like the little, you know, state militias, you know, people that have private militia groups and that, have come over from all over the country to help him protect his cows.
Because this
That's
issue is
awesome.
a lot bigger than what's going on in Nevada.
Yeah.
Now, and I think that Danielle will know that the federal government owns in Nevada.
I don't know what it is in Nevada.
In Nevada, it's like 80-something%.
But
It's most of the state.
it
It's most of the state.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a pretty good portion of the state. I mean, they own more land than people do.
It's actually left over from the Louisiana Purchase.
Right.
It never changed hands from the time that it was purchased in the Louisiana Purchase.
Yeah.
It has remained federal government property since then.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is definitely and that's what most of these ranchers say. You know, we don't even have enough land. I mean, we wouldn't be able to be cattle ranchers anymore if we didn't use this land.
Yeah.
And it's the same land that we've been using for generations. It's not like this is something new.
Yeah. His dad used it. His grandpa used it.
His great-grandfather, yeah.
Great-great-grandfather. This has been being used for over 100 years.
Right. So, you know, they're like, listen, we won't sell any more land because we're basically surrounded by federal land. So it's not even like we can just buy some more land for the cows. And the government's answer is, well, that's fine. You can keep them grazing, but you're going to pay me extortion.
Yeah, pay me my extortion money.
So
I
now,
have some land that you paid nothing for, by the way.
right?
Like, remember, let's go back to the Louisiana Purchase. How much money did that cost us? Not much.
Pennies.
Like, it was a couple pennies an
acre.
acre. I think you've gotten your money out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and basically, you know, the Clive Bundy has called this, you know, tyranny. He's called this federal tyranny.
Correctly
which
so.
it definitely is. He's like, you know, they're stealing people's cattle. And like I said, he's not the only one with heads of cattle out there. It's not like this is one guy who all of a sudden one day said, you know what, I'm going to buy more cows than I have land for and start grazing over there. He's used this land for 100 years.
Yeah. Now, one thing I did want to note here is that one of the articles that you had linked was the CNN article.
Yes.
And I want you to say, because we've explained it and we told you about the free speech zones and things like that. So I want to read what was written here from the CNN, just to show you how much they're in the bag for the government on this stuff.
Oh, their bias was incredible.
Yeah. Since the roundup began, protesters have been confined to 2 areas to publicly declare their grievances, but the peaceful protests in recent days have crossed into illegal activity. Now, so they're not calling the fact that the government tried to keep people in a certain area in order to address their grievances the illegal activity, even though that is completely unconstitutional.
Right.
They're saying that they have crossed into illegal activity, including blocking vehicles associated with the roundup, impeding threats to government employees, the 2 federal agency has said in a statement. So they took the statement from the federal government, and that's what they're putting in their article, without giving the fact that they were tasing pregnant women.
Yes.
They didn't put that part
Cancer
in there.
patients.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, and this is basically, you know, they have actually, you know, impounded 352 heads of cattle.
Killed a bunch of them, too.
Yeah, killed a bunch of them. Now, these are valued at about $1,000 a piece. So, this is, this is a huge issue. They did arrest his son several days before this altercation. Now, they did have an altercation, and they said that there was, I guess there was, people were being tasered by the agents. The agents had, stuff thrown at on. A dog, I think, was at one point kicked, but obviously it was that close enough to my feet. It could have been self-defense.
That dog was going for a bite, by the way. That's what was going on.
I'm sure.
Well, I watched the video. I saw what happened.
So, but finally, at one point, the federal agents did leave. Now, this is by no way over. We all know that this is going to go down again. But the federal agents did leave. There was no actual harm, major harm done to anyone. Nobody had, nobody was taken to the hospital or anything else on either side. But this was definitely very heated. And, and protesters were very, very angry that they were, supposed to stay in these free speech zones on federal land.
Yeah. Nobody stayed in those free speech zones.
Nobody did, which good on them.
Absolutely good on them. The other thing is this, that the issue that we really need to look at here is that the federal government owns way too much property, for one. We need to be eliminating the amount of property that the federal government owns in a serious way. Like, all of that land needs to go up for sale. All of it does. It needs to go up for sale.
I just actually got deeper into this. Did you hear the excuse that they gave as to why they're doing this?
Oh, yes. And I was just going to go into this. The actual dispute, they've been grazing on these lands for years without any issue, for generations. But in 1993, there was a rule change with the Bureau of Land Management to protect a desert tortoise. So they no longer wanted the cows to graze on the lands that the ranchers have been using for generations, because they say that there's an endangered species of turtle on the land.
Here's where the housing boom in the 2000s, the Bureau was earning enough to fund the Desert Tortoise Conservation Center in southern Las Vegas, a habitat created in 91 to house the wild desert tortoises removed from the path of development and to use those tortoises to aid the recovery of the species. The operating budget was about $1 million a year, but the recession that followed dwindled the number of developers and in turn funds for the DTCC. So facing the prospect of shutting their doors, the DTCC began releasing healthier turtles into the wild and euthanizing some of the sick ones. From the AP, August 25th, 2013, back at the Conservation Center, a large refrigerator labeled Carcass Freezer hummed in the desert sun as scientists examined the facility's 1,400 inhabitants to find those hardy enough to release into the wild. Officials expect to euthanize more than half of the animals in the coming months in preparation for the closure at the end of 2014. So the tortoises that they are supposed to be protecting, half of.
So they're endangered because they killed half of them.
Yes. They could not afford to run this operation, so they euthanized the turtles and are now charging this man grazing fees to pay for it.
Yeah. Mob's got to get their cut. Mob's got to get their cut. And this is what you're looking at. This is only the beginning. Because what you're going to see is a further deterioration of of the resources, of the revenue that's coming in to these organizations, and they have to find ways to be able to fund it. And so what they're going to do is they're going to continue to do stuff exactly like this. This is only the beginning, and they're going to be going after everyone like this. Just wait till you get in their way.
Right.
And you find out what happens.
When it came down to saving the turtles, they killed half the turtles because they couldn't extort money from the developers anymore because they killed the housing market. And so they released turtles probably into land that wasn't their natural habitat to begin with. Mm-hmm. And then realized, well, there's cows grazing here, so that's going to endanger the turtles that we've already killed half of already. So we need to save the other half that we didn't kill, that we put onto land they never should have been on. So we need to extort the ranchers.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sums it up, basically.
Wow.
Unbelievable, by the way. It really is unbelievable what they're doing. I mean, all you're doing is showing people exactly what kind of how evil you are, and this information is making it out to the public. And just stay evil, because it'll make selling all of this land that the federal government owns, because the federal government should not own this land. The only land that I would even argue that they should even own is the District of Columbia.
Yes.
I'll go with that.
I'll go with that.
Not even all of it, some of it. Some of that land there, go ahead, you can own that. The rest of it, it ain't your business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that state's business. And, the national parks and stuff like that, which, again, I'm not a person that wants to get rid of the national parks. I think that they're good, but...
Well, you'd like to turn them into state parks, though.
Yeah, I'd rather them be state parks. That's
so you do want to get rid of the national parks because you want them to be state parks.
I don't want to get rid of the land. I want the land to still be there, and I want the state to be able to control it. Because I'd rather have private individuals controlling it.
Right.
But if we're going to make a state park, then make a state park. I don't, and now what they'll do is they'll say for the Grand Canyon, government is there as a facilitator to that agreement, then I got no problem with that. But on the issues that matter in that one state, then that state's got to deal with that stuff, with this rancher and these people, because they're going to be much more accountable. But none of them should own 90%.
Yeah, and it is, I haven't looked it up, but it's a large amount of money that the federal government owns of Nevada. And, and at the end of the day, it's been government meddling that endangered the turtle to begin with. And, it's been government all the way that's even created this problem. And then, it's like, well, we'll just take it out on the people because we can, because we have the guns. And that's what government does. We can just, I don't have to worry about, I'll just, we had to kill those turtles. Well, we'll just extort the rancher.
Yeah, and here's the thing. For you environmentalists, for you big environmentalists out there, I got a question for you. And it's kind of a multiple choice. I'm making a multiple choice, and I know sometimes you guys are busy finger painting, so you guys don't understand, let me give you multiple choice. Who is the biggest polluter? A, the private sector. B, individuals. C, the federal government. I'll wait. I'll continue to wait. The answer is the government. The government is the biggest polluters that are out there. If you really cared about the environment, then you would be with us in saying that the federal government shouldn't be polluting, because they shouldn't own the land that allows them to do that. That's what's the problem. Again, you think the guy that owns these cows wants to kill the grass that's out there? Because if he does that, then he's only going to get it one time. Then the cattle can't use it again. And they've been grazing there for 100 years. I don't think that they have anything to do with global warming. Again, maybe I'm not as arrogant. Warming. And the part about it is, you have no proof that says that he does. And you know what? There's thousands of... most of the species that have been on this planet are extinct. And if the tortoise ain't making it, maybe you guys should actually have people eating it then, because then people would have a financial incentive to keep making sure that there's a whole bunch of these tortoises around.
Now, if those were a good meal, then there would be a market for it, and people would make sure that the tortoise, this species of tortoise, survives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. But they don't want to do that, though. They don't want to do all that stuff, and whatever. My biggest problem with this, and many times it's just, you have these government agencies have been running roughshod over people for a long time, and a lot of times people have not been rising up to fight it. Well, you know what? You're starting to see that now. People are rising up to fight this stuff because they're seeing it for what it is. This country, you guys have made it to the point that it is right now, and that you need to stop what you're doing out there. And you need to stop using the force of government to get your way on this stuff. And the Bureau of Land Management, you people, you all need to be fired, and they need to close it down. Bureau of Land Management on the federal level shouldn't even exist. It should be at the state. If the state wants to have a land management bureau, as much as I might disagree with it, at least it's done at a state level and not at a federal level. You people need to be... And again, shame on you for what you're doing to this cattle, this farmer out there. Shame on you. I don't know how you people sleep at night. By the way, I don't know how. And the traitor cowboys that are out there helping the federal agents. Man, you people, it makes me physically ill to even think about it. You want to American activity? This is what Stalin did. This is what Pol Pot did. This is what all these dictators have done. You are the strong arm of the law for those people. That's what you're supporting. That's what you're defending. That's what you're doing out there. I hope you feel good. You better hope the atheists are right, because if they're not, you're going to hell for this one. I'm telling you right now. And Danielle doesn't like me to say that, but I'm saying it either way.
Not going to go into that argument today.
No, we don't have to. I wasn't trying to get into the argument. I actually acknowledged in the beginning on your disagreement on that to make sure that you knew that I wasn't speaking for you. I'm doing you a favor. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome right there. So here's what's going on out there. Watch this thing closely. If you live near Nevada or can go out to Nevada, go out there and help these people, because they need people out there.
Yeah, I'd like to see the U.S. Bureau of Land Management end, because I don't U.S. managing.
They're not very good at it.
Right? Obviously, they killed a bunch of turtles and put them in a habitat that they didn't belong in the first place.
Now, there's another.
You guys suck.
Yeah, there's another factor at this. This land they're looking at possibly using for fracking, by the way. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. So you're going to get rid of the cows so the federal government can sell the land so they can frack on it.
Yep.
And I'm fighting for the cow guy, and somehow I'm the bad guy, right? And the other guys are going to go, yeah, those evil oil companies, yeah, let's wait till we can get these cows off of this land so we can give it to them so they can frack on it. But we got them for sure. Oh, my gosh. You people wonder why I get mad during the day. I don't know why you get so angry. What's next?
A break?
Yeah, let's
oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Let's go into break now before we start another topic.
Yeah, you're right, because the rest of the stuff, Brandon, we can get to Brandon on some. We'll take a break. The website is 1787network.com. If you missed the first hour, make sure you go back.
It was a good one.
And listen to the first hour, because it was a good one. You missed out on a good time there. But we'll be back after these messages. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
The Libertarian Party of Florida is excited to announce the 2014 State Convention. Join libertarians and friends from across the Sunshine State to hear great speakers including 2016 presidential candidate Darrell W. Perry, the chair of the National LP Jeffrey Neal, plus Donald Belanti, George Phillies, Wes Benedict, Tony Stiles, and more. Be sure to reserve your seat early for the banquet Saturday evening with keynote speaker Judge Jim Gray. Jim Gray, the former judge of the California Superior Court and author of Why Our Drug Laws Are Failed, was Gary Johnson's 2012 presidential running mate. Arrive early to mix and mingle with friends at the Friday Night Social. All special events are open to the public, so even if you're not a registered libertarian, you are welcome to attend. The convention dates are approaching fast. Join us in Tampa Bay, May 16th through the 18th. Go to lpf2014.org to get your tickets today.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty. Grant the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violation going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of your Publix, and at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground. If you'd like to call the program, the number is 1-800-525-4032. Refresh Telecom, 1-800-525-4032. They won't sell your information to the feds. And I got to tell you, by the way, my elbow is killing me.
You're still hurt.
It still hurts from Sunday. On the cement, man. And that was not fun. I got to tell you, I was not having any fun when that happened.
No, it didn't seem fun. I wasn't having any fun because I was like, oh my gosh, he just fell. I don't know what just happened. Do I hit the brake? What do we do?
You know, I got to tell you.
I did start crying.
Look, I'm not going to have a competition here who's having less fun in there. But I smacked my head on the ground. I think I win this battle of who's having less fun.
I didn't think it was a competition.
I don't know. I felt like it was. I was feeling competed against.
Always a competition with him.
Yeah, right?
Everything.
Maybe. That might be the case.
Well, we were talking about, we actually talked about this story last week. Brandon's coming on, but I wanted to kind of give everybody an update. We talked about the Albuquerque, New Mexico police from last week. We talked about it last week, how they've been using excessive force. There was some protesting going on. There was altercations between the protesters and the police. The Federal Justice Department was investigating, and they did find that this police force has been using excessive force, and that they're looking into where charges should be pressed against some of the officers.
Good. Well, chalk one up for the good guys on that one then.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give everyone an update that that there was an investigation from the Justice Department because of all the violence that was going on in what should have been kind of very easy arrests and things like that, but they did find wrongdoing on the part of the Albuquerque Police Department.
Wow, well, that's something. That really is something, by the way. We'll have to wait for a second here while Brandon is getting transferred over here. The other thing that happened this week is another big thing that happened was that Kathleen Sebelius, who's has resigned. I guess she was going to resign in March. She resigned, and they're bringing in another woman. I think who was the budget and management the budget management office of budget management or something woman, and they're bringing her in. Again, it doesn't really matter. They're still going to do the same thing, so they're just changing the figurehead here. And I think what they're doing is the reason that she did resign, they want to be able to vilify her, say they're bringing somebody new in so that they're fixing the problems that they're having, not taking into account that, look, it won't matter who it is, they're all going to have problems with
Right.
this. So while I'm glad to see Kathleen Sebelius, gone, would prefer that she was in jail, but we'll go with that she just doesn't have her job anymore. But she's going to land with a cushy job working for some private corporation. Yeah, that's going to be able to do that.
That's owned by some senator's, brother.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But on the line with us right now, our most favorite person. How you doing?
Oh, I'm so blessed. How are you guys?
Doing very well, sir. So there's a lot going on in the Global Dispatch, man. So let's go. The thing that you got up front is is Eric Holder and what's going on with the Attorney General and some of his back and forth with the House Judiciary Committee oversight hearing that he had on Tuesday. What's going on there?
How can you not love another soundbite provided by the Obama administration? So now, whenever you're backed into a corner or anything like that, Alex, you can just look at them and point your finger and say, "Listen, don't go there, buddy. Don't go there."
And this was actually directed towards Representative Louis Gohmert from Texas.
Yeah, because he used the word contempt. He didn't say anything really, I think, inflammatory, really. I mean, this is kind of a little bit of the backdrop of what this kind of hearing is supposed to be about. And he uses the word contempt, and Holder goes, it's real derogatory back because don't go there. Hey, listen, our soundbite that now I guess you can use in your political conversations.
Yeah, it really is, and it's funny how these guys, guys like Eric Holder, basically most of the people in this administration, have such a disdain for Congress and have such a disdain for anybody actually questioning them on what they're doing. I mean, considering that Eric Holder is behind, border agents being killed, he's behind a lot of this stuff. And, this guy should be in jail right now. The fact that he's free should show you that, we're not doing our job well enough as a country to actually get rid of some of these people. But to watch what Eric Holder does, and then if you question, well, the only reason they're doing that to me is because I'm black. No, the only reason they're doing it to you is because you are a criminal. You are just a straight-up criminal that is using the force of government to do a lot of bad stuff.
They were looking at the Justice Department has not handed over to the House a lot of documents that were subpoenaed from them. And this is from Operation from Fast and Furious. And Louis Gohmert said, "I realize that contempt is not a big deal to our Attorney General, but it's important that we have proper oversight." And that's when the comment started. And I got to give credit to Louis Gohmert here, who basically said, listen, words are, because he's basically, Eric Holder says it was a big deal. And Louis Gohmert says, well, basically talk is cheap. What we've seen is nothing come out and the subpoena gone unanswered. So it must not been as big a deal as you think it was.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Go ahead, Brandon.
And all I have to say is, don't go there, buddy.
We need to know about.
Well, a lot of busy stuff this morning, trying to catch up on some news of the week. The whole microchip thing, NBC talking about how we'll all be microchipped by 2017. Obviously, a sensitive topic for a lot of folks, and a lot of legislations move forward in California and such. It's authorized them to put the microchip directly in your credit card, expansion of microchipping of different type of animals, things like that. And of course, there's a couple of really cool, interesting surveys that came out today. One talking about and revealing that most people have been exposed to porn by the time they're age 12 and as early as 10. That was kind of a shocking survey. And then, of course, on the lighter side, a survey says that most people are happy with their love life. They're churchgoers, and kind of not what I think most people expected to read this morning.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting.
That is very interesting. Now, when it came to the, I know you guys didn't actually put Lois Lerner. What was your take on Lerner? Kathleen Sebelius leaving, and then putting somebody else new for the Health and Human Services Secretary?
Well, the administration has really got a track record of doing this, and what they do is they know the attention span of the American population is so short that the constant bait and switch between officials seems to work. It's like, well, Hillary Clinton stepped down. We wiped out all these people from the State Department, CIA, and whatever, so therefore there's nothing really to do about Benghazi. At IRS, well, we do this, we do that, so therefore there's really nothing we can do about the IRS scandal. So, all the stuff and all the issues with the HHS and Obamacare and all that, well, we changed out Kathleen Sebelius, so there's really nothing there to worry about. And sadly, it keeps working. So as long as it keeps working, that's how they keep playing the game. And she'll just land with another, one of her friends' money and get paid probably $10,000 or more to speak publicly and, live a nice, happy life out of jail.
Yep. The most important part of that right there, out of jail.
Out of jail.
Out of jail. Now,
I should have corrected myself and told myself not to go there, buddy. But I didn't figure out a way of doing that.
You're having to self-tell yourself that, so that's pretty good. Now, one other thing that happened, and I didn't see it on the Global Dispatch yet, but I just wanted to bring it up to you because I kind of wanted your take on this. Did you hear about the incident where Hillary Clinton was out speaking and somebody threw a shoe at her?
There's a lot of shoe throwers out there. Remember, Bush got shoes thrown at him all the time.
Yeah, now he had to be in another country to get the shoe thrown at him, though. So I think that what happened was that this was sexist against Hillary Clinton, is what this was. Is because she's a woman.
Was it a man's shoe or a lady's shoe?
Actually, I think it might have been a woman's shoe.
I think it was
another woman that did it.
Well, then it's not sexist. It's sexist at all, Alex, and don't go there. It never gets old, does it, people? It never gets old.
Awesome. It's the best soundbite ever.
Yeah, it is actually pretty good.
Women are allowed to be like that towards other women. It's only sexist when men do it, or maybe another race does it. I'm really confused on when things are acceptable and when they're not.
Yeah, I have no idea either. But I did think it was classic that Hillary Clinton did get a shoe thrown at her. So that's just one more thing that Democrats and Republicans have in common now is that they'll have shoes thrown at them.
Yeah. And that person was a racist.
Yeah, and that person was probably a racist.
They clearly were. They had to be.
Clearly that was the case. What else is going on out there, Brandon?
Well, I just have to say, now that I hear the whole story about Hillary, I just think to myself, what does it matter now? What does it matter now?
What difference does it make?
Yeah, what difference does it make? What
difference does it make? Is it a man's shoe? Is it a Nike shoe? Is it a high top? What does it matter?
I'd like to know what designer made the shoe.
That's a YouTube viral video that's waiting to be happening.
That's a Louis Vuitton. I know who's that. Yeah.
Exactly. They fly better where you can almost hit them now. It's amazing.
What is the most aerodynamic shoe for throwing at politicians?
That was product placement, man. Product placement.
It's all about product placement on this one. Now there's another article you have up on the Global Dispatch. This is on in the opinion side, the blog side, about Sean Hannity ridiculing Michael Savage and his college degrees. What's going on with this?
Yeah, a lot of credit to Robert Harriman, the co-founder of the Dispatch, with me there on that, who really just latched on just a great story where, I don't know, we kind of went back and forth as if Hannity's just trying to gin up some ratings or what he's trying to do, but I think the last thing you want to do is try to attack Michael Savage on his intelligence and the degrees he has. So basically, Hannity's belittling the type of degrees he has. He has a degree. Look, as far as I know, there's not a whole lot of letters after Hannity's name, so it wouldn't be throwing shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go there, buddy.
Go there, buddy. See, now I've got the show hijacked. One soundbite after another.
Yeah, don't go there. What was the term that was used the other day for Sean Hannity? What was the term that we had the other day? It was written. Somebody wrote it to us about what kind of show that is.
Oh, I don't remember.
Dang, I don't remember it either. But it was really funny. It was really funny, by the way. I mean, it really was. And Sean Hannity is really one of those.
The Women's Day of Talk Radio.
Yeah, the Woman's Day of Talk Radio. Sean Hannity.
The Woman's Day of Talk Radio is pretty good. That's gold.
Yeah, that is gold. That is gold. Somebody else made it up though.
I think that our favorites in the legacy of the Global Dispatch is Tom Schnitt, the Screeching Garden Gnome. And I was personally called the spewer of bile and filth.
You were called.
And I wear that. Yeah, I wear it like a badge of honor.
Nice.
I love that
awesome.
Brandon was called the spewer.
Right?
Now that is funny, by the way. It is kind of funny with Hannity though. again, when you're in the car and you're driving around from 3 to 6, it is hard to find certain stations. So Hannity will be on because he is on some of the bigger stations. But this show is so incredibly painful. And I do love how he tries to say that he is not a tool for the GOP while he's being a tool for the GOP. I'll never figure that one out, ever, on how he can, even with a straight face, make that claim.
There's a couple shows as we're driving, because we drive and whatever's on, that we get no choice. And in some places, we have very few options. So Alex will put these on, and I swear it's because he hates me. But there's certain shows like Hannity where he'll put it on, and I'll go, oh, gosh, I swear it's because you hate me. And then within 5 minutes, he's like, even I can't do this. I'm sorry. We'll have radio silence before we listen to any more of this.
Yeah. I'll listen to Spanish radio. At that point, just because it's just so because the problem is that if you listen ever listen to any of his shows, is that if he's going to bring somebody on that he argues with, he actually won't let that person make the point they were trying to make. He'll only allow this person to talk when he's answering questions, and that's it. He won't let him do anything else other than that. And the questions he asks are just nonsensical anyway. But it just goes along with Hannity being a tool for the establishment, though, which is what it is, I guess. But to see him making fun of Savage, though, like that really, and I'm not even a Savage guy. You know what I mean? I'm not even a big Savage guy. Savage is, in my opinion, has definitely gone the wrong way in a lot of issues. And but he is attacked.
He's not attacking the show. He's just trying to be like a little middle schooler, just saying, listen, you have like JV degrees after your name, so therefore we shouldn't take you seriously, basically.
The guy has, and Brandon has the list here. Michael Savage has an undergraduate work in biology, so he's bachelor degree in biology. He has a Master of Science in Medical Botany, a master's degree in Medical Anthropology. He's earned a PhD in Nutritional Ethnomedicine and wrote it from the University of California in Berkeley, and his dissertation was on the nutritional ethnomedicine in Fiji. The guy has like a ton of degrees.
Certainly doesn't sound like an idiot to me.
No, not at all. But if Hannity wants to make fun of his stuff, what degree did Hannity get? You know what I'm saying? He got political science? I mean, the guy was a roofer at one point. I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to make fun of people, at least the guy was in college. He wasn't a roofer. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being a roofer, by the way. We got to have roofs in our houses. But, it just goes to show you the elitism of people like Hannity.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the other thing that really offends me about Sean Hannity is in the beginning of his thing, he uses the term "welcome to the revolution." Like, can you please not co-opt that word there, Hannity? Like "welcome to the revolution." Like you weren't on Fox News touting George Bush being the greatest guy since sliced bread, but in 2006. You know what I mean? You ain't part of the revolution, guy. You're part of the co-opting of it. So let's just make sure we get all that stuff straight there, Sean. I wish more of those snowballs would have hit.
Don't go there, buddy.
Yeah, don't go there, buddy. Don't go there. What else is going out? What else is going on out there in the Global Dispatch?
Well, we can switch gears a little bit if folks have had a chance to see the Captain America film. I had a great interview yesterday with Max Hernandez, one of the most fun interviews I may have ever had. We got to talk pop culture and preview not only his role in that show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Captain America, but also he has some upcoming shows that are great. And one of which I think is going to be right up your alley is called The Last Ship. It's Bay attached to it. It's kind of a lot of explosions and actions, but it's got a very apocalyptic theme because it takes place in the world after a pandemic is broken out that has wiped out 80% of humanity. So it's a very interesting concept.
Oh, that actually is a good concept for a movie like that right there. That actually is a really good concept. I like that.
The Last Ship is a TV show, actually.
Oh, well, we'll see what happens.
Anything that has 80%.
No, I tell you what, he even made comparisons, a big fan of shows like what we were talking about. We talk about Walking Dead, Revolution, all those kind of shows, and he's a big fan of that as well. So you may enjoy that interview.
Yeah, actually, I will actually have to take a look at that interview. Now, in talking about the movie, the new Captain America movie, what and I haven't seen it yet, but what I'm hearing is, one, I actually think it's a very libertarian movie.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've seen it, so what was your take on the movie overall?
Very much for the first one, it really kind of goes beyond just being a superhero movie. I mean, really, the whole, bad guy taking over the world kind of stuff is really the backdrop of the meat of the movie. And a libertarian thing, I can definitely see this. Definitely why do we have national security, and where is the boundary lines of defense versus, becoming an authoritative government that makes proactive and dangerous decisions? How that mechanism, that industrial military complex, could be hijacked for evil doing, I think was a theme that hasn't really been dealt with, and I've made reference to many, many times. I mean, let's go on a Christian rant for a moment, folks. For any of you Christians that are out there, and you believe there could be an Antichrist, or you think there's a remote chance that that book of Revelation could be true, then how can you support America's industrial military complex that could be hijacked by such a leader so easily? Hence, that ties in with the Captain America theme, because that's a little bit of the backdrop of what Captain America's found himself in the middle of. It's just a big mess.
That's going to be. I really do want to go see this movie though, and I want to see it in the movie theaters. I do not want to see this movie somewhere else.
I actually think I want to see it.
Yeah, I really do want to see this movie.
Like,
I'm thinking about Sunday. We're going during the day.
Well, yeah, we'll all go.
Yeah, I think we should go do this because I think it'll be. I really am wanting to see this, and I'm loving these movies, man. I am just loving these the Marvel comic movies, man. These things are just awesome. I mean, it really does. Because they do stuff like this, because they'll take and they'll bring in stuff like this, because they asked the director, and the director talked about how they were using basically the kill list that Obama was using,
right,
and the NSA and all this other stuff that they were, that was the motivation for why they went down the roads they did.
Yeah, there's a kill list in the movie that kind of flashes. It goes by very quickly. The NSA type stuff is very much kind of a backdrop of what they're talking about, and that's nothing. Has a lot of those themes, right it in your face.
Yeah, nope, absolutely. Anything else, Brandon, that you wanted to go over?
We stocked up weird news a little bit for you, and I promised Danielle, I don't think Florida made the list this week. So hey, it's a little bit of kudos. The counter can keep going.
That's awesome. And just for the record, I did look it up, and Sean Hannity has only an honorary degree from Liberty University.
An honorary degree.
An honorary degree, and you're gonna make fun of the guy that's got 4 of them for real?
Yeah.
Got a real PhD.
Oh my God.
He has an honorary degree.
Does O'Reilly have a degree?
I only looked up Sean Hannity. I didn't look up the stats of all of them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering if I have more degrees than the two of them combined.
You might.
Probably.
You might. Well, I think that what's his name? O'Reilly does have 1 degree, I think, because I think he talks about his college where he went to college at. So, which whatever.
He has a degree in history.
He has a be a teacher. Because he used to be a teacher.
Right. Yeah. He has a bachelor's degree in history.
Yeah, it's good that he's not a teacher anymore. Because I guarantee you, he'd have been a horrible teacher. He wasn't teaching anything. He wasn't. I mean, he was teaching people how to be statists. But other than that, at any rate, all right, Brandon. The website is theglobaldispatch.com. Brandon, thank you so much. We really appreciate you calling in today, sir.
Thank you for having me, and talk hard.
Don't go there, buddy. Don't go there. I was waiting. Dude, that's at the beginning. All right, man. We'll see you later, Brandon.
See ya.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to go there on that one.
You ruined the whole.
I had to go. Don't go there.
It was good though. It was good. It worked out well.
Don't go
Just
there.
don't go there.
Just don't do it. Just
I
don't
think
do
we
it.
should. I think I'm totally going to do that when you start going and be like, don't go there. Alex.
Just don't go there, buddy.
do it.
Don't go there,
buddy.
One other thing I did want to mention before the show ends, and we're going to be working on this. I don't know or not. No, but to get to this before because I want to dedicate the conversation of the third hour to the conversation of the third hour. But you know how we go after the regional offices for what do they call that? The region offices that are set up in the state of Florida that are done regionally and not like the counties, like they cover multiple counties and stuff like that.
The regional planning conferences.
Yeah. I forget the name of it now though.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know how it's an Agenda 21 thing?
Yeah. But they have different things for like transportation, and it's not like one office. There's several. I mean, like they have the MPO, which is the regional planning for which is transportation. But they do land management is different. That it's different divisions that do different things, but they're regional offices.
All right. Well, on Liberty First Network, we had something about the property rights up there, defending
and
property
regionalism.
Rights. Yeah, the guy comments into there. Snarky comments, by the way.
Right.
Very snarky stuff. But we're going to try to get this guy on. I'm wondering if he's going to have the testicular fortitude in order to be on the show. But we're going to try to get this guy on. I called, left a message, and I sent him an email. I haven't gotten a response back to either one, even though I did post his information. But I have not gotten the response back yet, so hopefully I'll be getting that response. If not, I'll be giving out his phone number on the air, and you can call him and ask him why he's not returning my call. But we'll deal with that at a later time, not this week. I don't want to give it away just yet, because I want to give him an opportunity to come in here and be able to argue his case on why he should have a job, because I'm actually one of the people that think he should be fired. And not because I know the guy, but just because he works for an organization that shouldn't exist. But anyway.
So I don't think he should be fired. I think his organization should just go under.
Well, yeah, but I think he should be fired too, though.
Okay.
You know, I'm not saying he should be fired because he's a bad guy. I'm saying he should be fired because he shouldn't have got that job to begin with. He shouldn't get a job other than that. Just go get a job like that, because you've been stealing enough money from people as it is.
Love it.
Yeah, good time though. And by the way, we're also going to bring out more for the craft brewery. We didn't talk about that this week, but the craft brewery bill that's going on up in Tallahassee and what they're trying to do for their level of extortion on a statewide level is also something that's completely disgusting.
It's a huge extortion racket.
Yeah, and this is the greatest example of crony corporatism that I could ever show you, and exactly where the money goes and all this other kind of stuff. Danielle and John are putting some really good stuff together, and the report we're going to be able to go out and put out there is going to be really good, and you're really going to learn a lot, I would think.
You're really going to see who's taking money from whom and why this bill is getting pushed and why it's going through. When it is literally extortion from craft breweries, and it's going to put a bunch of people out of business. Craft brewery actually employs 10,000 people across the state. This is going to be huge on, and we're going to go through all.
This would be real jobs in Florida, not the fake jobs that Rick Scott talks about. And it's sad that the state of Florida has decided to go after these people because they make a whole bunch of money from the beer distributors. Really is kind of sad, actually. But again, next week we'll be talking about that issue as well. But that is going to be something that you're going to see, and we're going to spend a lot of time after session of kind of identifying what happened in Tallahassee. But we're going to do it in a way that's going to take 2 months. We're going to do probably 2 months worth of shows where we're really going to be laying this stuff out, but we're going to lay it down for you in a way that nobody's ever laid it out for you before. Mm-hmm. And we're going to segment it out. We're going to make it so we're going to educate you. We're going to tell you where the bodies are buried up in Tallahassee, who's doing what, who's doing it to who. We're going to have all this information out, and the website that we're going to do that on, 1787network.com and Liberty First Network. So it's going to be both of those areas where you're going to be able to see this information. But until then, be good to one another, and we'll see you next week.
And in the next hour.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
The Libertarian Party of Florida is excited to announce the 2014 State Convention. Join libertarians and friends from across, including 26 W. Perry, the chair of the National LP, Jeffrey Neal, plus Donald Belanti, George Phillies, Wes Benedict, Tony Stiles, and more. Be sure to reserve your seat early for the banquet Saturday evening with keynote speaker Judge Jim Gray. Jim Gray, the former judge of the California Superior Court and author of Why Our Drug Laws Are Failed, was Gary Johnson's 2012 presidential running mate. Arrive early to mix and mingle with friends at the Friday Night Social. All special events are open to the public, so even if you're not a registered libertarian, you are welcome to attend. The convention dates are approaching fast. Join us in Tampa Bay, May 16th through the 18th. Go to lpf2014.org to get your tickets today.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violation. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now. 988 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality and customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground. If you would like to call the program and get engaged in this last hour of the conversation, the phone number is 1-800-525-4032. 1-800-525-4032.
Should we call Dean at Public Policy Polling before we get into this?
Of course.
Yeah, let's do that first. Yeah,
Okay.
Let's do that first before we get into it, because I wouldn't want to break in the middle of it. So let's go ahead and just do that right now. That's a good idea, by the way, Greg. You're doing a great job over there. So, but while he's setting this thing up, though, I'm going to give you the topic that we're going to get into, and that the topic has to do with the Libertarian Party. With candidates, the future of the party moving forward, and all that stuff. And I think the overall question that I was going to ask, it went straight busy. It's never done that before. You think he's blocked it to make it go straight busy all the time? You don't think he likes the messages?
I mean, I would think he would find them funny.
I would hope so. But at any rate, what we're doing is we're going to have a discussion here. Because I think that between the three of us, you do have three different opinions on this matter. Oh,
it's actually ringing now.
Is it ringing now? Okay. His name's Dean, right? Yeah,
Dean.
Yeah, Dean.
Dino.
Let's see here. Still ringing. I don't like the rings on Skype, by the way.
No.
I don't like the Skype rings. Just the beep. I don't like that. They need to change that. Where are we going?
Dean can't answer the phone right now. Please leave a message.
Hey, Dean, this is Alex Snicker, Liberty Underground Show. You're live on the air. Well, you're not live on the air. Your answer machine
We're
is.
live on the air.
We're live on the air. Because you have not picked up your phone since we've been trying to call to get a hold of you.
It's been months now.
You know, honestly, at this point, man, let's talk about something. I'm a little hurt. And let me tell you why I'm hurt this week. Because I really want you to pick up the phone, and you just won't do it. And I don't know why.
We think we're entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, you've heard a couple of the messages, so you got to be a little bit entertained here. But we're calling again about Adrian Wiley. Make sure that in the next poll that you include him for governor of Florida. Because, again, I know you said before that you weren't asked about this stuff, but we're calling to make sure that every week on Friday you're asked about this, so you can go on the weekend and sit there and think about what you've done and see if that you're going to correct the error in your ways. If you'd like to call us back, you can look us up, but I'm not going to give you the phone number right now. So we'll talk to you later. Anything else you guys want to add?
No.
What you doing? That kind of stuff. We'll see you later. Bye. All right. The call to Dean at Public Policy Polling never gets old. It's funny.
No, it really doesn't. Every time.
All right.
Okay.
Now we're getting into it.
Into the meat.
Into the meat, baby. Into the meat.
Should I separate you two? Should I put a divider in between you?
No.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll be all right. No, we're going to be all right here. As this party grows, which it's growing, you're going to have people that are coming into the party. And that you have, what I looked at it as, you have different kinds of candidates that are in the party. And I'm going to break it down. I'm going to use examples of people of where they're kind of at, and then to kind of give the overall question. So you have a guy like Adrian, who I would say is I always want to use Adrian as like the mainstream libertarian.
That. I mean, I think he leans a little. I think he understands how to speak to the right a little more than he understands how to. His positions are very mainstream libertarian. I think he explains them better to the right than he does to the left. But I think that basically he's very much the mainstream libertarian thinking on his issues.
Yeah. So you have guys like that. Then you also have candidates out there that were like Lucas.
Right.
Lucas is one that's much more focused on talking about the solutions themselves, maybe not the philosophical part, but of how you get to the end there. He didn't really talk as much about that, and that because he dealt with more people, I would say, on the left, that he was his talk track kind of was that way. He believes the same things that we do when it comes to how to get rid of these things, or to at the end of the day, he agrees with us at the end.
Them. He doesn't agree with us on how.
On how, yeah. There. So you have candidates that are like that. You have other candidates out there that are like, let me see here. What can I use? We have the Franklin Perez's that are out there. And again, I'm not a fan of Franklin. I don't like Franklin, but let me say it honestly. Ideologically, he's a libertarian. Ideologically, positions, the way his positions are, he's a libertarian. His problem has everything to do with priorities. Is what you choose to talk about, where he goes down all of the stereotypical, his number 1 and 2 are
he's the hookers and blow candidate.
He's really the hookers and blow candidate. That's a good way of saying it. Mm-hmm. Feeds into the stereotype, in my opinion.
Right.
You also have, and I'm not going to mention any of the actual insane ones. I think I got close enough with Franklin. So, but then you have the people that are just completely insane, that are not coherent at all in their.
That I'm not even willing to say the names.
Yeah.
Much credit, because they're that insane.
Yeah. I would call those like the drunk uncle libertarian candidates. That's probably a good way to put it. So you have those candidates out there, and then you have ones that are like Tony Casso, where I would say maybe Tea Party libertarian is the way that you'd want to look at it. I love Tony to death. There's some issues that we don't have an agreement on, but for the most part, we're able to work around those things, and both of us have respect for each other. I have respect for Tony. Tony has respect for me.
Right.
And I support Tony. Mm-hmm. So you have all those varying kinds of candidates. Now, in my opinion, moving forward... Oh, go ahead. No, you got another one, and mention it.
Well, like Ray. Like we had Ray on last week.
And candidates like Ray. I don't even know what category you would put Ray in. Bortz libertarian.
I think after hearing some of his positions, I would put him somewhere in between...
Okay, some of those issues. What I would say is you got. He's like the Neil Bortz kind of libertarian with a Newt Gingrich flavor.
that about covers it.
Yeah.
Because Newt Gingrich would come out with some ideas that were were
colonizing the moon.
Yeah. Things like colonizing the moon. Where honestly, I swear to God, Newt would just put some stuff out sometimes where he literally would put it out just to see how far he could go with that stuff. Not even that he believed it, just to see how far he could go.
I'm Newt Gingrich. Can I say we can colonize the moon?
Yeah. Let me see if I can get away with this stuff, right? So you have all those varying kinds of candidates in the party. Moving forward, you're going to have a lot more people running for office. So you're going to have a lot more of these varying kinds of candidates. And the questions today is, are all of these candidates libertarians? That's, I guess, one of the questions. Two, should we in the party? And are we really by doing that, are we what I would consider us to be is the big tent party? Like, I think that the Libertarian Party itself should be the big tent party, and that all of these people that are all these different kinds of candidates, whether I like them or not, it's inconsequential, whether I like them or not, that they all should be in the Libertarian Party. And that we should, I don't want to say embrace them, but we should somewhat embrace them as a party. Because I think that all these people deserve a voice in the party.
To some degree, I guess.
Danielle, now that I've said some of these things, though, I'd like for you to go please take the mic here and kind of explain your kind of position on some of this stuff here.
I believe that they have a voice in the party. And let me start. Welcomed into the party. I believe that they have a voice in the party. I believe that, having different ideas and having that debate within the party is a good thing. What I do not think is that they should be embraced as candidates. There's a big difference between a candidate is basically speaking for the party in many ways. And I know that they're not the official spokesman for the party, but to the public, it is the candidate and what they're saying that sways a person's opinion on what the party and what, people like me or you or the people in this room believe as well. Because they're the ones out there, they're the ones reaching out to the voters, so they're the ones that are actually purveying the message to the voter. And if that message doesn't align with what we actually believe in, I don't think that should be embraced.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Do you think that so you don't think that those people should be candidates?
No, I don't. Listen, I would never try to make rules to stop anyone from being a candidate, but I don't think the party should be getting behind them and saying, this person. I think once the party itself gets behind them, then we're acknowledging that they do speak for us and that they do believe what we believe. And in some of the cases with some of the candidates, that's just been absolutely wrong. They don't speak for the majority of the party.
All right, fair enough. Now, one of the things that we've talked about also is either should we have a lot of candidates that are paper candidates or I'm sorry, Greg, before I go any further than this.
Let Greg answer.
For what we've talked about so far, what's your take on some of these things?
I would agree that these people would fall under libertarianism. They could be categorized as libertarians, and therefore they have a place in the party. They have a place as candidates, but that probably comes from my opinion as to the usefulness of the Libertarian Party for candidates and winning elections.
Okay. The argument that you could have for candidates. First off, let's define the party first. Do you think? And I'll ask Danielle, then I'll ask Greg. Do you think that the political party, like the Libertarian Party, because they are a political party, they're not a think tank. There's a big difference. Mm-hmm. They have set themselves up as a political party. So if you've decided that you're going to set up a party as a political party, are you going to agree with what I would consider to be, and what seems to be the common definition of the rules of a political party, or the purpose of a political party, which is to run candidates and win elections? That is the purpose of a political party. Danielle, do you agree that the purpose of a political party is to run candidates and win elections? Whether you win the election or not is not nearly as important as to whether the purpose of the party is to do that.
Yes, I do. I wholeheartedly agree that the purpose of any political party is to run candidates and win elections. Now,
you might not necessarily agree with this one. So what is your take on this?
I think that the party has a lot of responsibilities. Part of it is in campaigns. Part of it is also affecting political change, however it can be done. I've talked with you about this before. The history of third parties in the United States is not one of winning elections, but it is a history of changing the political landscape many, many times. There are a lot of things that we have on the books that are laws now that were brought about by the activism of third parties without getting any candidates elected, but they are the law now. The graduated income tax is an example of that. Ending slavery is an example of that. Neither of the major parties wanted anything to do with ending slavery. It was third parties that stood up, changed the conversation, brought this into the public conversation, and made people change their opinions on it. The other two got on board when they had to, because the popular movement had gotten to that point where they had to get on board with it. Same thing with medical marijuana. The Libertarian Party has had a lot of effect in legalizing marijuana, legalizing medical marijuana. You can't deny that they haven't had an effect. But they are not electing candidates. So we have a lot of roles. We have a lot of ways that we can affect political change in this country. Part of it is through candidates, but that's not all.
I actually think that what you're talking about is changing the conversation as a byproduct of running candidates to win.
I don't think we run candidates to win.
You don't think we do?
No.
Now, why would you say that?
Because they don't get the support that they need. The campaigns are not run in an effective way to win. And we just don't have the support within the party to make it happen. We are too fractured as a party, and we have too many people who know interest.
I think change that to where our focus was to be creating a structure where candidates could win, or do you think we should be focusing on just changing the conversation?
I don't think that focusing on changing our structure to make successful campaigns and getting candidates to win, I don't think it's going to be effective, and I don't really think that there's a point to it. I think if you're a candidate and you want to win an election, you should run as an independent or an NPA. If you want to talk about libertarian ideals, you want to talk about ideology, you want to affect the conversation, then run as a libertarian. But if you're running to win and you're running as a libertarian, you're deluded.
Do you think so, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay. No, fair enough. And again, this is one of these things where I want the conversation because I want this. I mean, I disagree with you, but I want to kind of sit down and have this conversation. And that's one. Danielle is definitely under the opinion that you need to have fewer candidates and focus your time on those fewer candidates, and that while then there's definitely some good things to that. And I don't necessarily want paper candidates either. But let me tell you what I do want, though. And the best way I can explain it is being at some of the forums. This is totally the best way I can explain it. If there were candidates that if let's say you were just trying to change the conversation. Let's just say that that's what you were trying to do, is to change the conversation. Even if that's your goal, the best place that you can actually have that conversation to try to change it is in those forums against the other people running for office.
Absolutely.
And that what depresses me many times is that I've gone to a ton of forums to where I'm watching what's going on the stage. There's not a libertarian on the stage, though, but I'm watching what's going on. Times they're not doing that. They're not talking about, we don't have somebody in there talking about the issues. So I do think that we should run a lot of candidates. Now, if some of those candidates aren't going to do what's required to necessarily win, they're not going to do a solid get out the vote effort, I'm not going to be happy about that. I'm not going to be upset about that, because I think that if they were going there and they wanted to, if they were just going to do all the forums and plead their case in the forums, that would be enough for me. That would actually be enough, because I think that you are affecting change in that aspect, because you're going in there and you're doing those things. It's not my preference, but I'm okay with it, I guess is a better way of putting it. But I want to see people in there doing that. I want to see candidates in there, and even if you're going to be philosophical, I want to see you in there making the case as to why these government agencies are bad. But not by calling people statists and doing all the other stuff. By being able to have an intelligent conversation on the issues that
Well, because I wholeheartedly believe that where we should be. And I think what will build the party and make us, where I really think that we're positioned to be able to take over like the Republican Party and become the other major party, because I see their decline and our rise. And I think the only way to do that is by running candidates to win. And I think that because of, we are limited, we do have few people and few resources, that if you were to take just 3 or 4 very strong, very viable, very credible candidates who are good purveyors of the message, and everyone get behind those, you can see higher numbers and more chances of winning. And I think that when you get a candidate that, when you look at it, they're not a serious candidate. And I think when you look at someone and when someone's not, if you're living with painting or whatever, especially paper candidates I hate, but it furthers this stereotype that we are a think tank. It furthers the stereotype that we shouldn't be taken seriously. And I think that does more damage to the party than just having a lot of names on a piece of paper.
Well, we're our own worst enemy. We always have been.
I mean, I just think that when you have someone up there who the public is going to perceive as someone who's not serious, this is not someone, I think it furthers that stereotype that we're not really serious about changing anything, because this is who we're using as to represent us.
I agree not only on that, but I think really where my point comes from in that, if you're looking to win an election, you shouldn't run as a libertarian, is simply because of the support of libertarians. Mm-hmm. I mean, you guys both know this, the Overby campaign, when it came time to start when it came time to start phone banking, how many people got on the phone? When it came time for a victory party, how many people were there?
Right.
That's the difference. There were when I went to the party the night of the election, I said it as I was pulling up. I was like, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of people here that we have never seen before who are going to tout how involved in the campaign they were. But we weren't at the parties. We didn't go to the parties. We didn't go to the social events. We went to work. We went out walking neighborhoods. We went out waving signs. We didn't go to the parties. The only party we ever went to was on election night for the victory night. Now, there were a lot of people there who went to a lot of parties and knew all these people because they were at the social events, but I never saw them out walking neighborhoods. So the reality is libertarians are their own worst enemy. Libertarians are too fractured. Libertarians don't want to work. They don't want to win elections. That's the reality. Such a small number of people in the libertarian work to make it happen that it's not going to happen. You have far more people who want to sit on the sidelines and complain and tell us how we be doing this and that while they sit there and do nothing. And we're going to continue to lose, and we're not going to win any elections while that goes on. That's why no libertarian has won any significant office ever. That's why independents and no party affiliations do, because they don't have the yoke of a party that doesn't want to work holding them back. They don't have the yoke of a party that has a bad reputation, has a reputation of being bat crap crazy. They don't have that around their neck. They have only themselves. As an independent, they are only the candidate. They don't have a party to speak for or to represent. That's why they get elected.
Boy, this is a real conversation right here, boy. I do have to that want to put work. I think that some of that is fear. Some of that is kind of not knowing how to do it, and some of it is the inherent nature of people that join the Libertarian Party. Some of it is that. It's where they want to be left alone, so they view going and knocking on neighbors' doors as almost an infringement on, like it's almost a violation of the NAP to go and do that. So I see how those things can come about that way. I mean, I'm not blind to that. I think one of my problems is it just seems to me that we're just so close. Like, we're so damn close because more and more people are starting to get it. More and more people that are coming in. Again, this is kind of goes into this whole Big Tent thing, is that you have the people that are coming in that are candidates, and even ideologically they do. It's like this. Take a look at the Nolan chart. and realize that even in the Nolan chart is that there's a whole big part that's libertarian. That if you fit in this part, then you fit in the party. So even if you're a couple, to the left, a couple to the right, a couple down, you're more of a centrist libertarian or whatever, all of those people are in the party. We got to find a way to be able to work together with all of those people in the party. And if not, we just got to find a way to stop attacking one another. Now, last week, Ray was like, well, you guys were attacking me. I don't think that was an attack. I'm not going to say that was an attack, because that was honestly having a discussion about where he stood on the issue, and we gave him all the time in the world he needed to explain that issue.
That was not an attack. That was candidate accountability.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
it was.
Which makes candidates better.
Mm-hmm.
That part of the party, I actually would say, is a good thing. Fewer all time for it. We'll make fun of him for months later too.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that he understands he should never do that again.
Right.
And he's thinking, I'm in the tree of trust that I do this, and these guys come after me. But Adrian will not get... Look, there's no rec committee man or committee woman that's going to be able to get Adrian.
No,
Ain't gonna happen.
Because we challenge him all the time. We hold our candidates up, and I think this is a good thing. We hold our candidates up to a high level that, I'm going to challenge you on your positions, because I'm seeing something in this position that you're not, and I'm going to challenge you. And I think that it makes them better, because when they go out there and get the state committee woman whose only argument is that in 1978 some Republican law, now she thinks that's responsible for Barbara Boxer and Obamacare, that they can come back and say, what are you, an idiot? Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron, and we need our best. Our minds challenging them. We always need to be getting better, and I don't think we always are.
No.
In a lot of ways, we are very, very stagnant as a party, and we go backwards a lot too. We go back 2 steps for every one we take quite often.
It happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And I guess the other thing is, how do you solve that? One is, how do you solve it? But 2, look, in every political party, there is infighting. In every political party, there are factions. In every political party, you have differing opinions of how to move forward. What I'm hoping that we can come to in the LP, and again, we're not going to get it done with the one conversation on the radio at all, but what I'm hoping that we can come to is to at least some kind of an understanding, is that we can... I know it's funny that I'm the one that's saying that.
I know, that's hilarious.
I understand the humor in what I'm saying. And they're like, Alex, you are a yeller. You are yelling at people all the time. How in the hell can you even bring this up with a straight face?
And they would be right.
And there would be there would be half of a point to be made there. Only half.
Yeah.
Because there are many people in the party that I don't ideologically agree with, that I have worked for, that I have worked with, that I don't like them, I don't necessarily care for them too much, but I will help them. And the reason is because my determining factor on this is different than ideology.
Right.
Well, and I think this is where, because me and you have actually gotten into this before several times.
Some heated discussions.
Very heated discussions, because I into account not only who the person is, what they're projecting, but I look at every candidate as, is that the person that I want the public to see as a reflection of me? And so I do hold candidates up to a very high standard, and I think as a party we should, because we are growing, and our image, and this is just, if you own a company, what you put out as your image is everything. How you're perceived by the public is whether you succeed or fail. And I think that as a party, we have to take that into account too. So, and our candidates are what is that public perception of us. And we have to hold that to a high, listen, is this what we want the public to think that all libertarians are like? And I think our candidates in a huge amount of cases fail at that. And it's nothing bad on them. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, you horrible people, because you're not. You're great people trying to do good just went into the wrong, it wasn't the right spot for you to grow the party, and you're not helping anyone. You're hurting people. You're hurting people like me or people like you guys that are working so hard to build the party and to make us credible and to make us viable. And when as a party, when we embrace candidates that we all can admit we wouldn't want to represent us, like, we're like, I'm not anything like that person, and that doesn't represent me, but I feel that there's a spot for them. And that's the problem, is that we've been so focused on everybody's freedom and everybody's, well, they're free to express themselves this way, and they're free to do this and they're free to do that, that we also don't take into account that freedom comes with consequences. And the thing is that the party itself is dealing with the consequences, not that one person. And you've basically, in all essence, in government terms, socialized the consequences, because the consequences are falling on all of us and not that person that we know we shouldn't have.
Well, that's part of the problem with libertarianism as a political party and an organized structure in the first place, because we can't be libertarian and be like the other parties. Part of being in the Libertarian Party and being a libertarian is that belief in freedom and that flexibility. You don't have in the other parties what we have in the Libertarian Party. In the Democrat Party, you had better support abortion. In the Libertarian Party, it goes both ways. There are people with good faith arguments on both sides of the subject. Republican Party, you better be against it. There's no discussion in the other two parties on these issues. There's no talking it out and figuring out another stance. There's a litmus test, and you don't get to play if you don't fall on this side of the issue. And that holds true on a ton of issues. That is not true in the Libertarian Party. We are the Big Tent. We are the ones who believe in freedom. We are the ones who open it up for you to have your own philosophy and be free to explore that philosophy and have your own ideas. Lend itself to an organized and effective political party, which is why I make the point that we are not structured to elect candidates. That's not what we're here for. Unless we do change the party into something more exclusive and lock it down in a way that the other parties are, we're not going to have the same effectiveness. We're not going to be able to use the same goals. No, go ahead.
No. I'll let you finish. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Well, I just think that's the point. I mean, you're saying that we need to be more selective about our candidates and have a better process and, look at who's representing us. And I understand what you're saying, but it then puts us in a more closed type of party structure like the other two parties, which doesn't really align with being a libertarian. And it doesn't. And I agree. A lot of these guys do not represent me, but I don't think it's incumbent on me to tell them they can't be a candidate for the party either.
Oh, no. And I would never tell candidate, but as a party, I don't think that we should give them our approval either. And there's a difference. And that's something that, well, I would never tell even the crazy ones that they shouldn't be a candidate. What I would say is that as a party, we have a vetting process, and I actually don't agree with vetting. I don't agree with it at all. So I am going to put that out there right now. I don't agree with vetting at all. I like the primary system. I think the primary system within a political party actually encourages competition. And I think that our vetting system stagnates competition as far as candidates go, and I don't like that. Mm-hmm. But I think as a party, we, number one, shouldn't get involved in vetting, shouldn't acknowledge anyone in the primary system. That you guys are in primaries, duke it out. Whoever comes out, then we'll decide then. Mm-hmm. But then look at whoever makes it through that primary system. Just can't put everything behind those candidates. And I'm not saying that telling anyone not to be a candidate. What I'm saying is, as a party, whom we choose to get behind should be a very few that best represent the party, because we are limited on resources. We are limited on branding well and things like that. That would be the way to fix that. And I'm not stifling anyone's freedom to do anything. We're just making better choices as a party at who represents us and where our resources go.
All right. And again, I have there's a special place in my heart for candidates, by the way. Let me just say that first off. Mm-hmm. I understand the point that Danielle's trying to make and that other people have made about the candidates. And I think that the line that we have to look at, and let me also say this, I think that there is a difference between being a libertarian and being a member of the Libertarian Party. And I think that being a member of the Libertarian Party, there is theory that political parties are made and created to run candidates and get them elected into office. That if I didn't believe in that, then I wouldn't be a member of the party. Because if it was about the philosophy and about educating people, then I wouldn't need to be in a party to do that. I could belong to... there's so many different groups out there, depending on what it would be, that I could join and be a part of instead of belonging to a political party.
Which is where the book clubbers come in, which is why there are so many libertarians that are not part of the party.
But there are members of the Libertarian Party that are part of the party that do subscribe to the theory that I'm talking about right now, though.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the next question. You have those that are what we would consider to be the book clubbers, and I am not a fan of those people whatsoever. But the one thing that you'll notice, and maybe you will, maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. I don't go after those people.
Right.
I defend myself the way I look at it. I actually defend myself against these people. I don't go after them for the most part. And the reason why is because I'm too busy with other stuff to worry about having a debate with a book clubber. Because the way I look at it is, if you're going to get in the mud with somebody that all they want to do is get in the mud, you're going to get down there with them and you're going to lose because they got more experience than you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what's going to happen. But I don't initiate those things.
Right.
What I find to be insulting is that those people will waste time attacking libertarians when they could be out there promoting the message that they're trying to promote. Mm-hmm. But instead of having it done in a genuine manner, which would be that you use your time to go out there and do that, to talk to people about how this is what we should do, and you bring more people. Instead of doing that, they literally will attack those that say that they want to do it a different way and do everything they can to try to eliminate the people that we have coming into the party as much as possible. So it's not like they're even net adding new. It's that they're trying to keep it low because I think that they realize that by making it big that they will lose. Mm-hmm. That the book clubbers will lose. If you start building your numbers up, then it takes that argument that you have about not being able to win away. If we had, and again, let's just say, we had 10% of the population that was registered libertarians, we're going to be winning some elections. We may not even have the majority, but we have a solid 10% base, which means that other people will come over and vote with our candidates, even if they don't come over to the party. The ones that ideologically agree with us, if they're seeing that we're at 10% of the population, I think that you're going to see 10. What offends me with these people is that the attacks, though. Like, why the need to waste your time to attack me? And while you can turn the other cheek and let it go, I don't think that that's the right answer either. You're going to have to defend yourself. Like, I feel like there's times where I have to defend myself against these people because of the actions that they take. And because they go down roads that are just completely insane at the same time. Like, they will go down insane roads saying that we're doing stuff that we're not even close to doing. Like claiming top-down status. And here's the thing, Greg. You've known me, you've known Danielle for a long time. You know where our heart is on this stuff. Mm-hmm. We've laid it out for you about as clear as I could ever lay it out for an individual. You know better than almost anybody where we're at mentality-wise on it.
And there's things you disagree with us on.
Yeah.
Vehemently. But civil conversation.
And we're not sabotaging each other's efforts.
At all. We're not doing it at all. You're willing to help. I'm willing to help. If you ever came to me and says, hey, Alex, I really need your help on this, even if it was something I'm like, well, that's not really my bailiwick. That's not really what I want to do there. But I would help.
Mm-hmm.
Why the attack? Maybe, and again, I'm again, this is just a conversation here, but what's the purpose for this?
Oh, I have theories.
Here's the thing. You've been brutally honest so far. You're going to need to be brutally honest on this one as well, though.
Well.
Hey, can we smoke for the last half hour?
Go ahead.
All right, thanks.
Well, one of the theories is the kind of the alternative. I call these people the perennial fringe. These are the people that
the old school Nirvana fans.
Yeah. Yeah, they love Nirvana in 1991, and then as soon as they're a bunch of sellouts. I hate them. 200 million people love Nirvana, so I can't love them anymore. It's too big for me to be a part of.
Blames Nirvana for selling out.
Yeah, Nirvana sold out.
Even though they didn't sell out.
Yeah.
That songs were the same as they were before.
Exactly. These are the perennial fringe. They are not happy being part of the mainstream. They are not going to accept being part of the mainstream. And if something they're involved in is becoming part of the mainstream, they either eject themselves from it or they prevent it from getting into the mainstream. That's part of what this is. This is not all those people, but some of those people, that's what it is. They're a big fish in a small pond right now. They can talk about how long they've been with the Libertarian Party and how much activism they've done and make themselves look mighty important because they're a big fish in a small pond. As that gets bigger and more big fish show up, they're not as big a fish. So they don't want that to happen. They want their names to maintain relevance. They want to hold their titles, as insignificant and useless as they are with those titles. They want those titles. They feel important with those titles. They feel like they are a part of something that is unique and cliquish and hey, not everybody's a part of this. So they want to keep it that way. Elitist in their own way.
Danielle?
Well, I actually agree, and I agree with their... and honestly, and I know this is going to sound just cold. I really don't care what their motivation is. I mean, we can go over and say, what motivates them? Why do they do this? Why do they do that? But at the end of the day, I don't care because I can't change what they do, and I wouldn't want to. I mean, listen, they have the freedom to act however they want. What I really upset with is the way it's handled by the rest. We can't change how someone's going to act. We can't change how someone's going to behave, nor would we want to. But what we can change is how we react to that. And, it's like I always say that libertarians always understand that, everyone says, I have the right to health care. And we say, I absolutely agree, but that doesn't mean the government provides it for you. Providing it isn't having the right. Those are two different things.
Exactly.
And although I think that everybody has the right to behave and act and say whatever they want, it doesn't mean we have to provide the platform for it.
Right.
And we've taken this freedom to mean we have to provide the platform because we're libertarians. And I think that that's been wrong. I think that we've had good people leave. I think that good people are still going to leave. I know that for a fact. As libertarians, we have to work 3 times, 10 times as hard as the other two parties to even be in the conversation. And if you're going to be attacked by your own while you're working that hard, eventually you're going to say, I'll do it without you guys because you're holding me back. And I think that you're going to have good people like me leave because of it. And I think we've had even better people than me leave before because of it. And I think until that problem gets solved within our party, we're always going to stay at the level that we're at.
I understand what Danielle's saying, and to a certain point, I have some agreement, but to a certain point, I don't necessarily agree. I think the one thing that because in looking back at this, I've realized that look, I have given it just as much as I've gotten it. That if you've come after me, I have come after you. I think that recently, and I would say recently being the past 6 months, maybe. Mm-hmm. I'd go that far. I'd go past 6 months. I have done some things to adjust that on a public level. On a private level, different story. I have not done that on a private level. If I can get somebody one-on-one and have a conversation with them, and I'm not an ally of theirs, they're going to hear every curse word in the book. And they're going to hear it 6 days to Sunday. I mean, they're going to hear from me, and they're going to get me raw. My title has no bearing on that whatsoever. Not no bearing, but I don't hold any bearing to it. So I will curse you out if I think it is required. But
you'll do it privately.
But I'll do it. What I'll do is that I'll do it privately. Now I will challenge people publicly, but I think that the challenges that I've made publicly have been much more reserved than in the past. That I've adjusted that, and I have been at fault on some of these things because I have gone after these people. But again, what I look at it as is every time I've done it, it has been as a reaction to what someone else has attacked me or attacked someone else on, and not me talking about the book clubbers unless somebody asks me about it or unless I'm attacked and I have to explain it. That's where I think that I would be able to work together with these people if they were willing to, one, work together, and two, if they were willing to have the difference of opinion without the vitriol. Mm-hmm. I think the vitriol is the problem here, and while like I said, I'll give it like I get it. It requires that how I'm getting it is how I'm going to react. Because when it comes to some of these issues, Greg is not of an agreement here. And yet me and Greg have worked well together for a long time, and there's other people that fit that same bill. Mm-hmm. But then there's others that ideologically, I'll bet you I am pretty close. That they choose to go the way that they choose to go. Their goal don't want a differing of a convergence of opinion here. They want, if you're tip of the spear, and if you ain't tip of the spear, we don't even want you. We want you out of here. When we have to, the Nolan chart was made not to where that one square at the top was libertarian. It was made to where this whole area was libertarian. And that the most important thing is if somebody comes over to the party. And again, that's a party first mentality though. And that you're like, well, you're willing to compromise with people if they're willing to make that, if they're willing to do that. And I think that as long as they're being honest and they're not doing what they're doing for nefarious purposes, and that they have a plan to get us to the end, but their plan's differing than mine, that they agree with the end goal. So how we get there is a conversation, a debate that is needed, and we may not win every issue on that. It may be Lucas's way to eliminate. But I think that if we're having that conversation in the party and we're bringing everybody in that agrees with the end goal, but we have to argue about how we're going to get there, that's the good thing to do as long as people are willing to understand that we need to grow the party.
But I think that that's way different when you're talking about an internal conversation within the party and what we support as a candidate. Because if someone is advocating for literally growing government, no matter what, we don't believe in that, and that's the thing is, listen, I can differ in opinion with a candidate on how we get to the end goal. I differ with Adrian on how we get to his end goals. I really do. But yet I 100% can support Adrian because none of his steps to getting there grow anything. It doesn't make the problem worse. It may be a different stepped approach to get to the end goal than I would take, but at no point does it take us backwards in a worse position. And I think that some of our candidates have advocated for things that in the short term would put the country in a worse position, not a better. And while their end goal may be the same, I can't support them because their steps would make things worse.
Yeah, well, that's definitely one of our problems. In their search for an ideological purity, they're extremely irresponsible in what they would like to do.
Right.
The reality is we have walked up a staircase for over 200 years of growing government, and right now we're at the top. There are people still building the staircase, and we're still going. What these libertarians of that ideology are saying is stop building the staircase and jump right now. Right. That's not responsible. That is ridiculous, and you're basically ensuring that we will never get elected, make any positive change, and we will not affect because you are being so irresponsible in your argument and how you want to go about doing it that no one is ever going to vote for you and no one is ever going to support that plan.
And
no one will ever love you.
And some candidates, as much as you have some people that want to just jump off the staircase altogether and get down to rock bottom. We've had some candidates that say, well, I only want to build the steps up like a quarter at a time. Mm-hmm. Because eventually we can start rolling it back. And to me, if we're not stopping and maybe walking down a step, I can't support you. I'm not saying jump off because that's irresponsible and I don't support that either. But I can't support a candidate, and I think the party has in the past supported candidates just for the interest of having a candidate. They've supported candidates that are jump off the cliff and be irresponsible, or we'll only build the step halfway this time. And I think both ways are wrong. And does that make me a purist? Maybe. I don't know. But I know that me as a person, I think we have a responsibility as a party to brand ourselves the right way. Branding is with candidates. And if the party gets behind candidates that are either, number one, building the step halfway instead of all the way, or two, jumping off the staircase, it's wrong. And it doesn't represent me, and it doesn't represent the majority of libertarians. And I think that it's wrong to embrace it.
Absolutely. And here's the thing. We're dealing with two kinds of ideologies, and both of them are wrong. Because what we need to do is start building the staircase going down. Mm-hmm. We need to pass legislation that is going to get rid of old legislation. And that's the thing. We have this within libertarian circles so much. It is such a, for as smart as we are, we have such a lack of understanding. You know, we want to get rid of bad government. You have to pass a law to do that. Right. So they get upset that you're writing a bill to pass this law. Well, I mean, to do it your way is just to shoot them all and burn it all down. And we can't do it that way. Even
a repeal bill is a law. It may get a bad law off the books, but I still have to advocate for the law that gets the bad law off.
Exactly. And you're writing a bill. You're creating more government. We have to do it this way. There's no other way to do this other than jumping off the cliff. And that's just shooting them all and lighting it all on fire and saying government's over. Or build it up a little more and try and build back down and build up a little more and build back. And neither of those are what we're looking for. I want to bring the government down to a responsible level that protects the liberties of American citizens. Right. And I really don't care about other libertarians' ideologies and how they feel about particular issues. I want to know, are you working to get this done? Are you working towards the same end goal? Who are working towards masturbatory goals. They want their title. They want it for themselves. They want to get their name out. They want to set themselves up for a future candidacy. Right. They want to set up their own book club. They want to set up their name. They want their name in lights and their name on a Facebook page and followers coming to them. It's not about ideology. It's about their ego.
Right. And for as much as we're attacked, me and Alex, both of us would admit that we are looking forward to the day where nobody knows us.
Let me say this, and this brings up another subject in here. When I was running for office, when I first started running for office, what I would hear from a lot of libertarians that were around for a while, longer than I was, of course, is that all they would tell you is, "What books you need to read this." And they were all philosophical books. Mm-hmm. And while I will agree that even at that time I needed to learn more, and I have at this point, I mean, I have learned more. Some of it was from reading books, and some of it was from just conversation with people and going out there and adjusting my own thought process on many of these issues and having conversations with people that were, the good, honest conversations, like the ones like Loring and Danielle and Adrian and Greg, and there's a lot of other people that have changed my mind on many an issue. I think what offends me more there is that none of those people ever told me to look at legislation that was currently being passed and to be able to speak upon said legislation. And that if we're going to be honest, and if we're out there to educate people, because their thing is, well, we need to educate people. Well, you can educate people on a philosophy, and that's not a bad thing to do. But unless you are able to take and equate it to what's currently going on right now and why what's currently going on right now is wrong, then you're not actually doing what you're claiming that you want to do, and you're not putting yourself out there as credible because you don't have answers to the current problems that we face right now. Like, a regular person up and down the street is not worried about libertarian ideology and philosophy. They're worried about a job. Right. They're worried about making enough money to bring home to feed their wife and their kids, or their husband and their kids, depending on who's working. I'm all for equal opportunity or whatever. But they're not worried about what they're currently doing now in Tallahassee, because we've seen firsthand exactly what they're doing in Tallahassee, And there's a lot of things that we can teach people that all of us can. I'm no brainiac on this stuff. But you don't have to engaging in that of the conversation. Then you're not giving people an education that they can do anything with. And I think part of it goes back to what you said before about the little fish thing. It's too much work. It's too much responsibility, and it's putting yourself out there for ridicule by doing something like this. It's much easier and safer to just be the book clubber. Because then all you do is just say no to everything, and you're good. No, you're all are statists. I'm not going to play within that system. I'm not going to do that. While you're doing that, they're banning industry after industry. They're throwing people in. You want to talk about throwing people in cages? The laws that they're passing are doing those things. If you're not up there to fight those laws, then everything you said was crap. It meant nothing to me. It meant nothing at all to me, because the simple fact that you would say this and not know what they're doing up there shows that you're not even serious. You're not the one that's serious about actually stopping the government from doing these things, because we know the laws that they're passing, and we're up there trying to stop it while you're calling us a statist.
And I'm going to relate this back to medical marijuana. A big advocate for medicinal cannabis. I'm also a large advocate for completely making it off the Schedule 1 and just making it legal for everyone. Absolutely. 100% my goal. I'm also for medicinal cannabis right now. You know what? There are people who are sick, who are using this to stay alive and are going to jail. And if I can help those people not go to jail, I am going to do that, because your philosophy, and I was attacked by the libertarians, but one in particular, but I was attacked by a libertarian for that position, because he was like, well, why aren't you in Tallahassee advocating for we own our life? Stop someone going to jail. Legislation does. And what I want to do is make sure that that person isn't taken from their family and going to jail. That's the real world.
Well, all of this can be summed up by our good friend Billy Shakes, William Shakespeare. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Yeah, no.
There is far more going on here than what you're discussing in your book clubs. There is far more work to be done than educating people. There is far more to be done.
Well, hold on. Let me say it like this. It's what you're going to educate them on. That's the thing. It's the application of the philosophy.
Exactly.
It is the application of the ideology that people need to be able to understand, because they don't understand it. That's the problem, is that that's one of the try to teach people. How this radio show is there to try to teach people the application, because we get into state bills. We get into those things. We talk about the current issues that are going on. You know why? Because that's what people are concerned about. And that's not placating to people. That's going to what their focus is at and showing why our philosophy is a good thing to do. It's what Harry Brown talked about. A lot of these people mention Harry Brown and other people as the people we should be looking up to. Hey, look, I agree with you, by the way. But equate that to what's going on in Tallahassee. And the thing is this, you have to fight the battles, and you don't get to pick the fights in Tallahassee that you're going to have to fight. You look to find the most important fights you need to have based off of what they're doing and engage in those fights. Now, there's not a fight of we own our lives up in Tallahassee right now. Exactly. It doesn't exist. Because they don't make a piece of legislation. You got to go after the issues that are up in Tallahassee. And we have gotten success up in Tallahassee. You don't have RFID chips in your driver's license because there was somebody up there that was reading amendments, that read that amendment, that went to a politician and said, this is bad, you got to get rid of it, and they got rid of it. Did they offer any favors for doing that? Hell no, they didn't. All they did was tell them how bad it was, and that person made a decision. Drones. We've restricted their use in Florida because of libertarians. Now, again, you can go, well, you didn't eliminate them. You're damn right, old school Nirvana fan. We didn't eliminate them. Because you know what? We don't have any damn libertarians that are up there right now. So if you want to go back to engaging in the conversation of we need to get candidates elected into office, I'm welcome to that. But if you want to have one bitch one way about how, well, you're just going up there doing that, and then the other, well, we're not really going to because I think in order to stop these laws that you're bitching about, that we got to have our people up there. But in order to have our people up there, they need to know what the hell's going on up there, and they need to worry about how they can apply their philosophy, not if they read every damn book by every damn libertarian that's ever been out there that's spoken about philosophy. That's my frustration. I'm trying to stop the crap you're complaining about, and yet you attack because I'm trying to do that. I would much rather you just said thank you and go on your way. Either way, I don't really give a damn what you think you're entitled to. Do I get a movie reference on that one?
No.
You can't handle the truth.
Ow.
You didn't get it. Was like much. It was much more in the end of the speech. Actually, is where he was saying
I didn't
stuff.
catch it.
But that's my viewpoint on this. Look, Greg, a lot of other people, Adrian, a lot of other people out there. We're doing the best we can to try to stop these people. It would be really nice if that was recognized and instead of being attacked was actually celebrated. You can go, well, while I don't agree with a lot of their you know who does this? You know who does this with me at least? Molnick.
Richard Molnick.
In
Lee County.
Doesn't agree with me. Doesn't agree with my attitude. Doesn't agree with a lot of stuff. But you know what he says? He said this before, and I'm sure he'll say it publicly. Is that he'll go, while I don't agree with him, I admire what he's doing because he's up there working, trying to get things done. And while I don't agree with his tactics at times, I agree that he's working hard.
There you go.
That's all. The only thing I ever want is that because I know you're not going to come out and walk a door. Just don't attack me when I'm doing it because I'm not. If you want to be a damn book clubber, be a damn book clubber. I'm fine with that. Just stop attacking. And the thing is this. Honest. You shouldn't belong to a political party if that was your goal. Go join a think tank. Go be an anarchist. Because no anarchist should ever be in the Libertarian Party, by the way. Because you are a hypocrite if you are. Because an anarchist doesn't believe in any government whatsoever.
Well, and that's the problem, and we've talked about that before. Yeah. A lot of these people, they are anarchists. They want to be libertarians. They are anarchists. They want no government. They want zero government at all. There's no such thing as a good government. There's no such thing as a fair tax. None of this is acceptable to them. That's why they want to jump off the cliff. There is no coming down the staircase. Jump off, no other options. And
they should not be in a political party if that's how they feel, though. Now, again, you have the right, so I can't force people out of the party. But you shouldn't be in one. You're being disingenuous if you are. Very disingenuous, as a matter of fact. Those are the people that piss me off.
Yeah,
because you are lying to everyone, and you're damaging a party because you think that you're an anarchist, and that's what this party's all about. Well, I got news for you. I've read both of them. Even the change ones they're complaining about now. Or the change ones, the ones from before. It was always a political party. Always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Piss off. You don't like people running for office? Piss off. Either have respect for what we're doing and keep your damn trap shut, or admit that you're a book club and anarchist that's here to destroy any effort that anybody else is making. Sorry, my bad.
No, and I agree 100%, and that's why I wholeheartedly and honestly believe that if you are a candidate who wants to win office and win your election, run independent, run in PA. Do not run with the Libertarian Party.
But you would never attack one that was trying to do it that way?
No, absolutely not.
You would help them.
And
I am going out to hold signs for Adrian Wiley today. Okay. I will be doing a lot more work for Adrian Wiley between now and election. I will vote for him. If he is going to win, I think he would have a chance at winning if he was independent or NPA.
But you believe that because of the current state of our party, not because you think political parties in general are bad, or a bad idea to win elections.
Oh, well, the idea themselves. No, I mean, they've proven effective.
Right.
They're great.
It's because, and if things were not...
Hold on, I got to disagree. They're not great.
They're not great. They're great at that.
But you would agree that if our party was not the way it is, just not the way it currently is now. You wouldn't. It's not like if there was another third party that wasn't like we are. You might say, "Oh yeah, you have a chance over there. You should run to win."
Right.
It's because of the current situation in our party.
Right. Well, the situation that's part of it. The game is rigged against us anyway, so that's part of it.
The game is rigged against MPAs too.
Yeah, the game is rigged against anyone, Republican or Democrat. Republican or Democrat, you have a huge hurdle in front of you anyway because of that. Beyond that, the party itself prevents you from ever getting elected, from ever having victory. We don't have an organized structure that brings people together for a unified cause. You know, it's too amorphous. It's so free, uncontrolled, that there is no effectiveness to the power that we actually have.
Do you think we've gotten better?
Yeah. It's definitely gotten better, but here's the thing. What I mean by the effectiveness of the power that we have, you look at the numbers of how many registered libertarians we have in the state of Florida, we should be pretty powerful. We should be able to accomplish some things. But when you look at what actually happens, that's why we have no power. Because all those numbers, they may have libertarian, they may have filled out a form, but that's all they've ever done. They're not going out and they're helping. They're not donating to candidates. They're not going out knocking on doors. They're not getting involved in their county affiliate. Some of them will sit and bitch about everything that we do while saying they're going to create a county affiliate, and years later it never exists. County affiliates fall apart under the reign of these people.
Right.
I mean, we cannot say that having these people as part of this structure is helpful for us.
And I think me and you are actually on the same page with this, because I feel like the reason, because of the embracingness we've had of certain people, is the reason why our party stays where it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we agree. I think I'm just very much more frank and have kind of made the decision and have no problem saying it, that if you want to get elected, you're not good as a libertarian. You're ready to say that yet, even though you may have an understanding of that reality in your head. You don't want to have the defeatist mentality.
Listen, I am always going to be a registered libertarian, and I'm going to say this now. I probably will never not be a registered libertarian. I am leaving the party, though. I mean, and that's, you know, I mean, and we'll get into that at another time of why that's going to happen. But I am, after convention, I'm not going to be around anymore.
But let's make sure to clarify that statement, because it does sound a little different than what you're going to do. Is that when it comes to the official party stuff, that you're not going to be a part of those things anymore. When it comes to candidates that you like and support, though, that you will be a part of those people.
I will be a part of Adrian's campaign for the rest of this year, and I will not get involved with another.
With another campaign.
Right.
Well, that kind of sucks for my next run.
Well, I mean, okay.
That kind of sucks for my next run. Well, I kind of feel bad now.
That's different. Well, you're not running for a partisan race.
Well.
And you can't use you as an example, because I'm getting involved with you for way different reasons than another candidate, and you know that. That's not a good example.
Whatever. My point still stands. Now, and I'm
an unfair point.
And don't get me wrong, and there is not even any part of my head that even thinks that you can't win as a libertarian. It's that we got to do the right thing in order to make it happen. That's where I actually disagree with you.
I will stop thinking that as soon as you show me the evidence that a libertarian can win in a relevant election. Show me something more than soil and water board or a mayor of a tiny town.
You know, and Greg, I actually agree with you there. In that aspect, I do understand that I have to prove it. That I totally understand that it has to be proven, and that until it's proven, then your point is you have a valid point.
I know it's as an independent and got elected.
Right.
I think there was more factors than that at play.
There's definitely more. There's name recognition. There's a lot going on. But the point is, you can stand up there as an independent or an NPA and say things that are very libertarian. You can get elected and govern as a libertarian and not be associated with the Libertarian Party and be free of that yoke. that is holding you back,
Yep.
that prevented you from getting elected. It happens.
Listen,
You're right. No, you're absolutely right about that, by the way.
I don't think that it's a lost cause to run as a libertarian. I don't. And I completely understand why you say that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually, on many, many levels, agree with you. I just don't agree with the conclusion. So I think that, people who do run as a libertarian, and I think that we have a chance to prove it, I won't be a part of it, and I've been very upset by having to make these decisions recently, because I've been very proud to be a very proud member. I mean, I've used being a libertarian in very much ways to define who I am as a person, and to not have that anymore has been very emotional for me and been very, very hard for me. But I do think, I don't want anyone to think that me not being a part of the party means that I don't think that it can win. I do think that it can win. I don't think it's the right vehicle for me anymore.
I think it can win. I think it's a very long way off. There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of introspection needed within the members and the party itself.
Yes, I agree.
Well, let me just say this too, though. I think that because of what you choose for your focus, Danielle, that doing it outside of the party, while not directly benefiting the Libertarian Party, is benefiting the Libertarian Party.
Listen, I'm always going to be a registered libertarian, but I've come to the conclusion that for what my focus is and where my talents are, that listen, that the win registered libertarians, you're going to be able to go out to people and say, "Hey, do you like this? Thank a libertarian." I think that, the party structure itself and the way things are in the party personally hold me back from doing good work. And because of that, because I know that I can do good things, that I know that I can affect change, but it's the party itself that's holding me back from being able to do those, I have to step back and be able to be an effective activist again. And like you said, kind of get off those burdens of the party. It's the right choice for me. It's the right choice for our family. Alex is still going to very much be a part of the party. I'm definitely, 1,000% supportive of that. It's just the right choice for me to leave for what we're doing and for our family.
I will say that you also have to admit that I was right in the beginning.
Yes, you were. Not a lot of people
Just for the record.
ever get involved with the state party that we broke.
Yes.
But I think that it was the right choice for you to do. I think it was the wrong choice for me. And you did tell me that, and I didn't listen.
Yeah, I did tell you that. And I'm not the one that always goes, I told you that I was right, but
no, in this one,
I was
you absolutely were. You were 100% right.
You ain't kidding.
With a lot of different things that I got involved in, it was, you told me from the beginning that I wasn't going to like it. It wasn't going to be where I thrived. And I really thought that you were doing it out of more selfish reasons because it's going to take me away from some of the things that I do with you. But you absolutely have my best interest in mind, and you were 100% right.
I know. I know. All right. Well, look, this ended up being a much better conversation than I think everybody thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
We thought it might.
Certainly not nearly as contentious as we expected it would.
No, I tried to make sure that even some things that I heard both of you say, I tried to let go.
You proved to me where I'm wrong, and I will be happy to.
No. Absolutely, no. I think you have points. I think there's valid points to be made. I think everybody in here makes valid points, and I think that the overall riding theme is that if we're going to grow as a party, we're going to have to embrace, or at least not embrace, but we're going to have to be okay with the entire spectrum of the libertarian philosophy. That because it's not the top square, it goes a lot bigger than that, you have to be able to be nice, at least, to people that are in that category. But there are some things that, in my opinion, are like going over the line. But it's not ideology going over the line. It's the attacks. It's the stopping of trying to do what political parties do, which is the other thing is not just win elections, but to bring more people into the party. What you're doing on purpose, I would argue, with some of these things, is trying to cause hate and discontent and not trying to work together and not allowing for reasonable people to have a disagreement. then you're not in what's in the best interest. You're not doing it for good reasons, at least in my opinion. You're doing it to maintain it as a little small place. The opposite of what we should be doing as a party. Those people, that's a problem. And I don't know how to fix that problem, by the way. I have no solution for that whatsoever. But because any solution that I come up with, I look at as that's the solution you could never go with. That's the other thing. I know, I have maybe not a total better understanding, but maybe a little bit of a better understanding as to how the political parties like the Democrats and Republicans made rules that are now being used against the grassroots. Mm-hmm. Because when these problems that we're seeing came about, they set rules in by setting that rule up, you have now made it so they can use those rules against good, honest people later on. And that's something that, we have a lot of, there's a lot of work to do in that arena. And how do you fix that? I mean, it's very difficult to do. And we will end up always having rules that are set up that people can take advantage of. They're always going to be there. How we work through that, and I think that the best way to work through that is that you bring so many people into the party that those voices of the negative nillies or whatever you want to call it are a vast minority. They're already a vast minority, but a way vast minority of it.
They're a very vocal minority. They're a
They're
minority that gets a lot of attention.
Yep, and we give them some.
And I think a large part of that is our own fault.
Yep.
Well, like I said at the very beginning of this conversation, we are our own worst enemies.
It's all Danielle's fault, too. Whatever you want, blame Danielle.
Well, you won't have me to blame anymore.
Oh, I'm going to find ways to blame you. So, we will make up reasons to blame you. So
don't go there, buddy.
Oh, nice. On that note.
All right, guys, the website, 1787network.com. And if you got a comment for this one, go send us an email, send us a message, send us a text.
Send us your hate mail.
Send us your hate mail. Send all hate mail to Alex at 1787network.com. So, okay, guys, you ready to close this thing down there?
I'm trying. My computer is being slow.
Greggy poo-poo? All right.
It's I hit play. It's
the computers are having some problems today, I think. Yeah. I think we're having some internet connectivity issues. But hopefully it did not equate to the show not working.
Let's see when this actually kicks in. I already hit play. It's still just sitting there.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. It's just flat. Hour.
All right. You want me to sing it? You want me to sing the song at the end?
No.
You guys
I don't
want me to
think
sing the song
anybody wants you to sing it at the end.
Oh, that's messed up, man. That's really messed up. I really had a lot more. There we go. There we go.
That's how long it took.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week, man. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
I believe in peace, but I won't be taken.